everyone, and welcome back to D&D&D&D&D campaign number 2 of Black Ink and Blue Blood. When we last left off, after completing and surviving the first night of Summer Ball, the party attended to personal business and reconvened at Nortwick's, whose owner and Raccoon's adoptive father is slowly succumbing to their inky ickery illness. After a long argument regarding where the party will go next after fleeing the city of Mercurial and likely leaving the boundaries of the Humor Empire, the party, or rather Lucian and Raccoon, saw Lorcan's state gradually getting worse and worse. So, while Zephyr and Caleb are out making their final pit stops at the market, where the party has seen the Gyogran Elvish army gradually getting more and more aggressive and paranoid with the civilians of this foreign nation. With that, Lucian decided to bite the bullet and make Lorcan bite the bullet, putting the dying, sickening elf out of his misery, only to trigger the final stage of his Ichor transformation. The Ichor beast, mixing the mind and body of Lorcan Telbront with a centaur paladin, attacked the party, and almost mortally wounding Lucian. Caro, thinking quickly, had their Siberian tiger Garo drag Lucian out of the tavern after Lucian was narrowly revived by the bard. As Lucian called for help to get the army's attention, Gil, already on his way to Nortwick's, rushed into battle, seemingly convincing the elves of his authority over them. And with Elvis soldiers backing him, Gil rushes into the tavern to charge the freshly recovered from their injuries Ichor Beast. With that, Gil, I would like you to please roll for initiative. I have everyone's initiative saved from the previous session, so.
Dun, 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 dun.
It's all right.
I mean, we could do battle music. I set it up for one.
Pretty sure that music's about sneaking.
No, you can't use something with copyright.
Well,
It's not.
I don't know if it's copyright.
I took some
We'll
time.
save it for another time.
It was the last one. I looked.
Only
Okay,
if
so-
you use 30 seconds of it.
Yeah,
No,
30 seconds of
10
battle
seconds.
music.
10 seconds.
Is it? I don't know.
I thought it was
10
of
seconds.
music.
Anyways, now's not the time to discuss it. So, Gil, narrowly beating Raccoon's initiative, you charge into the tavern, broadsword swinging and at the ready as the Ichor Beast slowly lurches to face you. You are currently 10 feet away from it, pretty much dead center in the tavern that you've called home for this past several days. What would you like to do?
I'm going to rage. And I'm going to swing at Lorcan.
All right, that's a sentence. Go for it.
That's what
Yeah,
I
we're
did
very-
earlier today when I was
know.
playing games.
Oh. All right, roll to attack.
Roll. Makes it a fancy roll. You gotta roll the R.
Yeah, and you gotta roll the R and roll the dice.
Since I'm adding a +2 with my rage, that'll be a total of 25 to hit.
That'll do it. Since I know you should have reckless attack, just tell me if you're making the attack reckless, since that affects my rolls as well.
Also,
what?
are you transforming?
Do I have that? Oh, and no, I'm not transforming right now.
Well, yeah. Well, you can transform a party. Yeah.
Yeah, no, he's just doing a rage. But yeah, so all right, that's a hit. Roll for damage.
$12.
All right. Let me note that down just a second. Just a second here. That's
Rip.
right. There we go.
Rip.
Rip.
Rip what?
What?
Rip.
Us.
Elf. So, Gil, you charge in and just let out a barbaric scream of rage as you cleave into the Ichor beast with your sword. And you watch as its front splits and pours this liquidy tar and ichor onto the floor from the just concave in its chest and stomach as the ichor around it is beginning to harden and turn to a more solid clay-like form, like the roguish ichor beast you had encountered in Perha. As the ichor beast begins to slowly take a more solid, reliable form. Is that it for you?
It is.
All right. Raccoon, out in the streets alongside Lucien, Caro, and Garrow. You watch as Gil charges in and takes a swing at your transformed father figure. What would you like to do?
I got like 3 slots left. Or no, how many slots left do I have? How many did I use last time? 2 spells?
2.
I did Thunder Wave and then Cure Wounds.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, did I do Thunder Wave twice or just once?
I'm pretty sure you did it twice.
Yeah.
then I've got-
I had
I'll
to
say
save twice.
that's right.
Yeah, it was twice.
Okay, I've got 3 slots.
Cool.
I'm going to use. I'm trying to decide on whether or not to use Cure Wounds again or actually attack. This. I'm gonna do Cure Wounds on Lucien again.
Go for it.
You know I have that, right?
Are you gonna use it on yourself?
Probably not.
There you go.
Alright, then I'm gonna use Cure Wounds on her, and that's D8 plus spellcasting modifier. I forgot to grab my dice. It's right here.
Bye.
I'll set that up.
Ooh, okay. Let me grab my modifier again. That's 10.
All right. You place your hands on Lucien's arm and sing a very low melodic tune, and Lucien's wounds gradually begin to slowly close and the blood begins to evaporate away. As you look down at the wound to check its closure.
I do want to say, she's not going to sing it. Again, it's going to be a piercing whistle right in her ear.
All right. So you let out this piercing whistle, Lucien, your ear kind of going numb. And as both of you look down at the wound that the Ichor Beast had left, as it slowly begins to fill in, you see the blood pouring freely, but slowly getting recovered or evaporating away, pure ichory black. Is that it for you, Raccoon?
That isn't fun. I don't have anything else I can do. That was my action, so yeah.
All right. It is now the Ichor Beast's turn.
Mood.
How about you?
How about you?
Avassi.
All right.
Okay.
Looking down at you, Gil, this massive, intimidating centaur Ichor Beast looks down at you and gives a sound that's like somewhere between the snort of an aggravated horse and Lorcan's hacking cough. It raises its inky pike and goes to lunge at you with it. That is a natural 20.
Oh no!
I love how both of the attacks of this fucking pike have crit.
This thing is a fucking beast.
Well, Ichor Beast, but yes.
It is beast mode up in this shit.
Just rolled really well.
Oh no!
Well, it makes you feel better. I rolled terribly on damage.
And I take half damage.
Right. So
Basically,
from
you take full damage now.
Yeah. Taking that into account, the pike does connect and pierces. It misses vitals, but does connect into your side. With the crit in mind, just making you take normal damage. You take 6 piercing damage. And as it uses the pike embedded in your side for leverage, it rears back and tries to just clobber you in the chest with its hooves. That's not going to hit. I don't even need to ask your modifier.
I was gonna say it's a 19.
Well, yeah, so yeah, it definitely doesn't hit. You kind of like back up, kind of wincing as you can feel the pike blade slipping away from out of your flesh, as you just barely miss the hooves, and as they slam back on the ground with their full weight, you can see the splinters flying freely from the floor as it just smashes up into the air. And as you kind of step back and it twirls its pike, you feel a pulse from the wound, and as you look down, you see you can feel like a kind of soreness in your side where it impacted. The wound's still visible, and suddenly your ichor black blood bursts free. And I'll take your halving into account. You take an additional 5 piercing damage.
Oh man, it would have hurt you if you weren't raging.
Yeah. But I am raging.
I know. If you
Thank
weren't,
God.
you'd be. I think you'd be over half. Yeah, you'd be over half dead.
Yep.
And that is it for the Ichor Beast. Lucian, you're up.
All right, I am going to use half my movement to stand up.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm going to move a little bit around so I can get a good shot. And I'm going to cast Guiding Bolt.
She's a one trick pony.
Hey, Guiding Bolt is a badass spell, and I will not hear slander against it. Go for it.
I was gonna say, fuck you. You want to take radiant damage in your face?
I'm just pulling a centaur joke.
God, who
Sick of
needs a
flame.
bolt attack, Matthew?
Yeah, so go ahead and roll.
Okay, I'm trying to. If my internet will cooperate, 10.
That's a 10 to hit.
Yeah.
You start readying Guiding Bolt and fire it into the tavern, and you watch as Gil and Lorcan are just locked in this intense melee. And Gil, you actually turn and just barely dodge as the bolt whizzes past you. And as it seems like it's about to impact Lorcan, he brings down that thick tree trunk-like arm. The spell dissipates against the tough clay-like ichor skin and does not seem to leave any visible damage.
Is speaking a free action?
Yeah, talking's always a free action.
Okay, so I would like to try to get its attention by yelling, "Hey, over here! Stop trying to kill Gil!"
Make a persuasion check, and I'll give you advantage since you were the one that attacked him first.
Okay, let's see. Persuasion.
Nice knowing
If
you.
I can. Okay, first roll. Man, my internet's really sucky today. I'm sorry.
It's all good. We can hear you fine, so.
Yeah, it's just taking
yeah.
its time rolling.
D&D Beyond,
Yes.
yeah. Just using
Yeah.
D&D Beyond the roll.
Yeah, and I know it's my internet, so. Let me try something. Persuasion. Okay, let's see if it will roll now. Hang on.
Oh.
I can roll for you if need be. I have dice.
Okay, there's a first roll is a 9.
Good thing I didn't roll for you.
Yeah, you might need to. 'Cause it's not doing it for me.
Yeah, here, I got you. DM
Okay.
dice. What's your persuasion modifier?
+5.
But no,
All right,
yeah.
that is a naughty, bastardous little 20.
Nice.
So as you shout this, Gil, you watch as the Ickerbeast centaur's head swivels with a horrifying as it turns at an unnatural angle to stare directly at Lucian behind you.
I'm gonna flip it off.
Oh, I don't like that
As
imagery.
I said, like, it was nice knowing you.
Oh, fuck.
All right, Caro, you're up.
And Austin, you're so pessimistic.
I mean,
No, he's right to be. He's right to be.
See,
Austin's like sitting here like, oh, you're dead. Yep, he's dead. Rip, you're dead. Bye, you're dead. Nice knowing you.
Rip.
well, I'm just like, Lucian's dead. No one else.
This is when I wish I was a high enough level that we could have leveled up so I can use Mass Cure
I
Wounds.
know.
Matt.
I mean,
Oh,
mass
so it's
cure.
my fault for
Yeah,
not
it's like,
giving you 3 levels.
yeah,
Okay.
like mass cure wound. That's a pretty high level or spell.
Yeah, that's like a level 5, I think.
It's 5, and we are not at level 5 currently, are we?
How dare
First
you
off-
not give me levels? Jeez.
First
All
off,
right.
you don't get at
Damn,
level
dude.
5. You get it at half your level. I think you'd have to be like level 10 or something, level 8.
No, it's a level 5 spell.
I know, but it's not like, well, it's a 5th level spell, right?
Yeah.
So you don't get at 5th, or you don't get it at level 5. You get it like it's half your level. I'm pretty sure.
But you get level 1 spells. at level
Regardless,
Well,
whose
Or
turn
you
is
need
it?
level 1 spells. Yeah.
No, you're
Oh.
able to cast it at higher levels once you hit higher levels than 5.
Well, it doesn't matter. So, Caro, what would you like to do?
I will poison a crossbow bolt and shoot it at him.
Yeah, the 5th level.
Alright. So, Caro, you drag one of your crossbow bolts along your skin, collecting the slimy poison that always exudes from it, and load it up and aim, pull the trigger,
Yeah.
roll to hit.
You have to be level 9 to get mass cure wounds.
Ready, aim, fire. Ready, aim, fire away.
One sec,
Anyone know
sorry.
that song?
Vaguely.
I
so,
do.
Like, I don't know songs very well.
Yeah, same.
I just kind of like, oh look,
I
YouTube.
think I showed you that song, Matthew.
Yeah, but
Isn't
like
it
I can't
called,
retain every single song I've ever
So
watched.
basically, every time I show him a song, he just instantly forgets about it.
Hey,
To
that's
be
good.
fair, I literally medically can't process music.
Well,
Yeah, I was gonna say,
tone
isn't it
deaf.
called Warrior?
What?
Isn't it called Warrior?
Ready, aim, fire. I don't.
Or is it actually called
I
Ready,
remember
Aim,
Warrior,
Fire?
but I don't remember what. I don't remember the song.
It's ready,
Um,
aim, fire.
So, Kara, how'd you do on to hit?
I think it's called Ready. Aim,
20, but
Yeah,
or
Yeah,
dirty
the
20.
song's
There we
called
go.
Ready, aim,
Yeah,
fire.
a naughty little 20. That's a hit. Roll for
Naughty
damage. Don't
20.
forget to add your poison.
It's a D8. Oh, jeez.
Imagine
Put it in our
Dragons.
Discord video chat so people can
Jeez,
see it.
DM, why haven't you leveled us up yet? Fucking, I level you up when I damn feel you deserve it.
Why didn't you given us like 8 levels?
Yeah, like literally just last night, I was like going over my like kind of map of like events for future, and I was like, okay, like these are where the party's gonna level up. Like I have level ups planned for you. It is not my fault that you haven't gotten to those like beats yet.
Okay, that'll be
Trying to
12 damage.
speed
anyway.
run D&D.
All right, so sorry, how'd you do?
12 damage.
Nice. All right.
Don't you need a one shot?
Damage again. Sorry.
12.
All right,
Boom, headshot.
Boom.
Alright. and that's counting the poison as well.
Yes.
Just checking. All right. So, Kara, you aim your poison bolt and fire, and as the Ichor Beast is like looming over Gil and staring at Lucian, it's not looking at you at all, and you're able to level and fire a shot directly into its glowing red ichory eye, and you watch as some of the tar just slurps off of its forehead to cover up the wound, but you can still see the bolt sticking out of it as it gurgles and coughs and grips its pike to hold its posture. And do you want Garrow to do anything?
I'll have Garrow continue to defend Lucian.
All right, so I'll count that as a reaction thing. All right. Top of the round, Gil, you're up again.
Okay, so I am going to do something stupid.
Oh no.
That sounds like
I mean,
this
that's
party.
just
Yeah,
par
like,
for the course.
that's just.
Is
it
that
sounds like
anything
this
new?
party. Yeah, like, it sounds like a
Is it
party
anything
dinner.
new?
Probably not.
Man, you're just full of sass today, Sips.
But
Sips,
Get me the
want-
sass masters over here.
yeah, Sips is
Yeah.
in a bad mood. You know, she
I mean, I guess you
Lost.
gotta fight fire with fire.
What are you gonna do?
Hey, I'm allowed to be sassy right now. My dad's being killed.
No, that's valid. I was just more noting.
we know.
All right, so Gil, what are you gonna do?
I want to jump on the centaur's back and attack the back of his head.
So you're gonna touch the stuff?
You gonna grapple him?
We already have it. But I'm gonna sit
Okay.
on his back
So you're
Right.
pulling
and attack him.
so you're pulling a Lionel move.
Oh yeah, wait. Are you grappling him? Or, like, what are you doing?
So
I'm-
you just want to get
I'm
into a
going
position to attack him.
ride him.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you want to get on
so-
top of him. Yeah.
This is a big thing that's actively resisting, and it's covered in a liquid that's going to be hard to grip. So make me an acrobatics check at disadvantage.
I'm gonna laugh when you're flung into the wall.
It's
Me
like fighting
too.
fire.
So he gets
It's
flung.
like fighting fire with fire. You gotta fight a stupid decision by a character with another stupid decision.
He tries to grab it. His hand gets sucked in.
He gets
And
stuck.
he just rocks.
16.
He just rocks falls you. He's at 16.
All right. And that's with disadvantage, just to be sure.
Yeah.
Okay, I figured. Just want to make sure.
Bum, bum,
So,
bum.
kind of stepping out of its slightly out of its way as its gaze is firmly locked on Lucian. You kind of step back a bit, kind of hype yourself up, and you leap. And you guys watch as Gil manages to cling to the massive flank of the centaur and start like scrambling, like as you start climbing to get on top of it. You actually you're getting handholds like as you climb. It leaves like just handprints of tar that splatter onto the floor as you like fling Icar behind you, but you do manage to get onto its back. And do you want to attack it?
Yes.
All right, go for it.
This is like one of those moments in movies where it would be like slow mode as you went to leap, and you'll be wondering whether or not he actually manages to make it.
My question is, why is he doing this?
Unlike a movie, and unlike a movie, there's no guarantee it'll work.
Well, yeah, he probably.
23 to hit.
That's a hit. Roll for damage.
14 damage.
Nice.
All right. Let me note that down.
My father.
No.
Giddy up, party.
So,
No!
Gil, as you
Do
mount
not
yourself
dishonor him this way.
onto Lorcan's Icary's unnatural centaur back, you can actually feel below you as you get into a position to get enough leverage to swing. Not only the like very uncomfortable, and it's not burning, but that just like cool liquidy sensation of the Icar. You can also feel loose bones like beneath your knees and where you're sitting.
Oh.
But you get leverage and cleave into the Icar beast's back. And it lets out another gargle and actually like vomits a bunch of Icar onto the floor in front of it as you cleave into its back.
Yeah, that's it. Let it out.
Raccoon. I'm assuming that's it for you, Gil?
Yeah.
All right.
Like, now
Raccoon, you're up.
Now you're on top of him.
Okay, I'm gonna use Cloud of Daggers.
All right.
Ouch.
Yeah. Owl for Gil.
Rip. Now I'm the one being pessimistic.
All right, so what does this
Sorry, Gil. It's either that or Thunderwave.
Wow.
Any other
Okay, you
magic?
pull the air. Huh?
You don't have any other magic?
He probably does, but you know why not?
Just not
Well,
offensive magic.
The rest is cure wounds and some other stuff that I'm not like giving away yet.
Oh.
Cloud of Daggers is you fill the air with spinning daggers in a cube 5 feet on each side, centered on a point you choose within range. A creature takes 46 slashing damage when it enters the spell's area for the first time on a turn or starts its turn there.
Okay. Is this a saving throw or an attack roll?
Let me see.
It would be a.
This
Doesn't actually
is
say.
an attack. Yeah, it doesn't say, so I'm gonna say attack roll.
Well, that would feel saving throw because it's not really you're attacking. You're just making like a little area of effect.
it's kind of
Well,
like
it's attacking it with like a crap ton of damage.
happens.
It's hitting it with a crap ton of daggers. I feel
I know,
like that
but-
counts for an
I know,
attack.
but you're not throwing. You're like spawning in
What's
the
it called?
daggers, right? It's called cloud of daggers.
get
It actually
pulling it up.
does. It actually does not say if it's. It just says they actually. That means they just take damage. They don't have. They can't save it. Right? I mean, if
That's
it
one.
does not,
Yeah, it's one of those. That's
if it
why.
doesn't
Okay.
specify, then
Okay,
I think
cast
it's
the
they just
time,
take
one
damage.
action.
All
You guys are
right.
cutting out for me.
Oh, you good?
Give me
Hello?
just a second. Yeah, let me pop out and pop back in.
But I think that means they just take damage, right?
See,
Yeah,
cast the
so-
time, one action, range 60 feet, duration, concentration up to 1 minute.
Yeah.
We good? Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're good. And what's the range on the spell?
5.
60 feet.
What?
60 feet.
It just does damage, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it says cube on 5 feet on each side,
I'm
but
asking
with a range of
because,
60.
You will have to step just into the tavern for me to be able to hit Lorcan.
That's fine.
Yeah, just want to clarify that you'll be moving. So, all right. So,
And,
Lucian and Caro, you watch as Raccoon steps up, readying their horrible piercing instrument. And speaking of piercing instruments, go ahead and roll for damage, Raccoon.
All right, here we go.
And Gil, you'll take half of
Says here
whatever.
4d4.
Well, but they're
That-
casting it, so.
My
So
thing
what?
says 46, but yeah, whatever, it doesn't matter. Because I just made a nat 20.
Well, no. So with this spell, you don't roll to hit. You
Just
just
do
roll
damage.
damage. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, damage. Okay,
like
I thought it was
missile.
roll to hit.
There's no
Okay.
rolling. This one just.
You
does
just roll
damage.
straight damage. Everything I'm seeing says 4d4.
I don't know. Look at
Well,
44.
you can
It's-
upcast to do more damage. So,
Oh, okay.
I don't know.
yeah, that's probably
Let's
what they're
see.
doing.
Well, I can do it by 3rd level or higher, and we are level
Well,
3,
what,
so.
what level did you cast?
And that
it?
increases it by 2d4.
Yeah, like, it depends up to you when you cast it. What level are you casting it?
I'll cast it at level 3 then.
Yeah, so you do 64.
Okay, 64.
All right. And so just count it and then give us the total. And Gil, you'll take half of whatever they roll because you're riding the target. So you will.
Definitely, it's in the range.
I mean, I guess technically, like, the guy could be partially in the field and not hit
I
him.
mean, if it's die.
It's gonna be a 15.
Like, it just scrapes
Wow.
the thing's face.
It's gonna be a 15.
15.
Can I say that I'm trying not to hit Gil?
Let me
Possible.
see. Okay. so-
Unless you're a sorcerer, you really can't.
Well, actually,
Well, no.
this is a large creature. So if you specifically target the front, then yes, you can only hit Lorcan.
Yes.
Yeah,
That's
I
what I
want to
was
go with
saying.
just the front one.
Well,
Also,
no,
Matt,
but
you're
the
starting.
creature. I mean,
Because Raccoon hadn't said
Matt,
that they
you're
wanted
cutting
to
out.
do that, so I just wasn't worrying about it. And B, I had to double check to make sure that Lorcan was a big enough target to be able to do that.
yeah.
Is Matt cutting out for everybody else? He's the only one
No.
cutting out for me.
No,
No.
he's
No.
good.
Crystal clear.
Yeah.
Rip.
If they're not big enough, you just hit both of them probably.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Um,
he's the only one not.
odd.
Yeah.
But yeah, so can you hear me now, or?
Yeah,
All right, so yeah, go ahead and roll damage. So you can target
I said
Lorcan
it was a
without hitting Gil.
15.
Okay.
Roll
It
damage.
was 15.
So Gil, you're good. So let me note that down the damage real
Yay.
quick.
You're lucky he's big.
You're lucky
Alright.
he's big.
So
Come on.
you, as Raccoon steps into Nortwick's, which they had called home, you hear a piercing whistle from Raccoon's instrument, and this spectral tornado of daggers emerges from the splintered floorboards and begins to just start taking pieces and chunks out of Lorcan's front and torso as the daggers begin slowly spinning from the floor up to the ceiling and just creating this solid tornado of weaponry. Is that the end of your turn?
Yeah, I'm gonna is there any way I can take a couple of steps back out of range, or would that give it a advantage on?
Well, no, you're not in range where you get attack of opportunity. It's just you. Yeah, you can. It won't be very
How
far.
much have
Like
they
10
moved?
feet. Yeah, so to get within range, they had to move 20 feet forward. But so you can, if you have 30 movement, then you can move an additional 10
I'm
feet.
just gonna
back if you
step
want to.
out. I'm just gonna step outside the door. You said I was just inside the door, so I'm gonna step outside the door.
Go for it. All right. So after you do this, you step out and you see.
Flashbacks.
And hang on, wait. I have a thing. Hang on.
Go for it.
I can. I'm gonna use a nimble escape to hide on the other side of the door as well.
All right. Make a stealth check.
Nimble escape.
Yeah, it's a goblin thing.
I know. I'm just thinking. Wait, what? I don't know what that
17 plus.
Right.
Hang on.
So.
I didn't get my modifier. 21.
All right. So you let loose this cloud of weaponry before ducking out of sight behind the tavern door.
Matthew.
Hmm?
I'm having flashbacks to 6. Everybody just left him to die.
I mean, we'll have to see how things go. All right. It is now the Ickerbeast's turn.
Which doesn't he take damage? He starts his turn with the inside the thing, right?
Yes, you're right. So, Raccoon, go ahead and roll damage for the daggers again.
Oh, wait, it keeps happening?
Well, because he started his turn.
Yeah, it's for 1 minute. It lasts for 1 minute unless you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's 10 rounds.
Cool.
It says concentration, comma, up to 1 minute. So.
Yeah, which concentration doesn't come into play unless they try to cast another concentration spell or take a hit.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Just if you
14.
1 minute or until you take damage.
All right. And even then you can roll. It's just like at that point you risk it. All right, 14. So Lorcan continues to just get eviscerated by this cloud of daggers. And Lorcan's ickery head starts to kind of swivel around before turning with a to look at you on its back, Gil.
Did it just like osmosis itself?
No, Gil, you watch as now that it's looking at you rather than Lucian, as your attack on its back got its attention more than Lucian's yelling. You watch as the arms holding its weaponry begin to shift, and you watch as its ickery hands start to twist so that it's basically reversing its stance without moving before gripping its weapons again, now facing you backwards on its own torso and takes a swing at you with its pike. And you, as the pike starts to come down on you, you notice the business end of it glowing with that same energy you saw it healing itself with. All right, lucky you. As it swings, you hold up the business end of your blade and manage to parry it, and you watch as some of the ichor starts to drip and coat your sword as you fend off the attack. And you hear this horrifying slurping sound as it rears up, the horse part of its body rears back, and its front hooves twist, and you can hear bones cracking as the hooves contort on themselves to clobber you on both sides.
Why?
Ew. Bastard.
Well, it is liquid.
This is a demon. This is just a demon.
I'm glad my monster design is doing its job. 8, 9, 10. You're still raging, right? So you take half damage?
Yeah.
He just short.
The ickery hooves crash into both of your ribs, and you can actually feel one of your ribs like crack slightly. You take 6 bludgeoning damage with the half already applied. And can he do this on that?
That's a lot for 6 damage.
And well, it's because it would have hit a lot harder if he wasn't raging. And you see the business end of the hooves start to glow.
Matthew's phrase of the session: the business end.
Yeah. It's good for description. You take an additional 10 radiant damage.
Oh,
That's half.
If it's just all damage is halved for you when you're raging.
Yeah, is it?
I believe so. Yes.
Well, not all. I know that you. I think psychic definitely isn't. But I don't know if it's. I would have to.
Yeah, I'll check
It's
real
just
quick.
you're just resistance to piercing. You're just resistance to base damage. There is a build where you can have
what's the
resistance
ability
to
called?
all.
It's just rage, but Austin already checked. So
Yeah,
you would
again,
take.
bludgeoning, piercing, slashing,
So radiant.
damage.
No, you do not take that.
Yeah, so you take an additional 10 radiant damage as the glowing hooves smash into your ribs, and as the hooves contort back to allow it to smashing land back into place, it starts to walk forward to drag you on its back into the cloud of daggers.
That means. All
Is
right.
he about to end his
Sips.
turn in the daggers?
Sips,
Yes,
no.
he is.
Oh no, that's his first time entering it, right?
Oh, yeah, first time entering.
Yeah, so he has to make a.
Well,
then
he takes
again,
damage.
it does
He just takes
So,
damage. But it's
Raccoon,
slicing,
please
right?
roll for damage
It's
again.
a good thing he has half damage. He might be dead by now if he didn't.
Hi guys.
Oh no, he would be dead. No, might be. There's definitely no.
Oh, so I think me and you are about to have the only characters left in the.
That's
All
14
right, that's-
again.
Yeah, so that's half, so you take 7 damage from the daggers as they begin to cleave through Lorcan and hitting you. And Lorcan seems entirely unfazed by the pain and just stares at you as Raccoon's daggers start to tear into you.
Stares
I'm
into
gonna
your
stare
soul.
back. I'm just gonna stare back at this.
as you die.
As
Yeah.
you die. Does he get another turn, or is he gonna start his turn in it?
Like he'll take the damage again because he'll have to start his turn in the daggers unless someone
Oh,
moves
yeah.
him.
Oh, yeah, that's
Um,
true.
Speaking
Hi
of which,
guys.
Start
Lucian.
his turn is pretty strong, actually.
Lucian, you're up.
Okay, did I notice while
Yep,
I'm hitting
yep.
him with my guiding bolt if the radiant damage is affecting him or not?
Make an Arcana check. Don't worry, this won't count as your turn.
My internet is being crappy.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
okay.
mine is 0. I think it's the weather.
It's
Yeah,
raining on their parade.
Yeah, literally. That would be a 5.
You can't really tell. There's like so much confusion going on, and its body keeps like meshing and contorting on itself, so it's really hard to tell. Like you can't even really keep track of which part you hit anymore, let alone like if it took more damage or not.
If you
Alright.
back up from your microphone or something.
I'm going to
No.
cast guiding bolt
Sounded
again.
different.
Yep,
All right, go for it.
Dead.
It's either guiding bolt or run up to him and do inflict wounds. I'd rather do guiding bolt right now. So, let's see. That would be. Why is it not? Stupid internet.
Do you mean to roll?
Yeah, that would probably be best.
All right, what's your to hit modifier for this? Assuming you have to roll to hit.
+6.
Yeah, you definitely hit. Roll for damage.
Okay, that's 46. See if it will at least do the damage. 24.
Nice. All right.
24 radiant damage.
Okay. Thank you for letting me know. All right.
You know what's better than 24?
25.
25.
All right. So, and what's the range on guiding bolt? Because again, you may have to move to get in the range.
120 feet.
Okay, yeah, you're fine. So, from your position next to Caro and Garrow, your hands begin to glow and you fire forth this guiding bolt, and it weaves into the tavern before smashing directly into the now unguarded back of Lorcan's head as he stares down Gil. Gil, you watch as the head of the Ichor Beast actually splatters before the Ichor begins to reform the skull and head, and Lucian, you and Caro and Raccoon from your position of hiding, you notice that you can actually see several of Lorcan's bones sticking out from the Ichor, and they're visibly cracking and straining. The Ichor Beast is on its last legs.
I'm going to yell, "Hey, fuckface! I'm over here!"
Make me a persuasion check, this time with disadvantage because Gil is on his back and assaulting him. So you're going to have to be pretty loud and convincing to get him to focus on you again.
Let's see, persuasion.
Gil's
Just
dead.
gonna point out that two members of this group have been weakened, and there's gonna be a lot of guards with some questions.
Oh yeah, what happens to the guards? Sunday doing jack all.
They're currently they have their rifles leveled, but the thing is, there's people getting in the way, and Gil's on its back. They don't want to fire muskets, which could easily hit one of the people trying to help.
Muskets are like one of the least accurate weapons.
Exactly. Like, they don't want to start blind firing and risk hitting Gil or
There's a reason
Lucian.
why you form musket lines, because you can't really aim them. You just kind of fire enough bullets in their general direction, and it's bound to hit someone.
You can
That's a 14.
All right. As you give this insulting call to attention, the Ichor Beast does not seem to notice.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah. Gil called it. He's gonna die. Not Lucian.
Well, he's gonna go down, but the Ichor Beast is almost dead, so he might not die. He may just go down.
Caro, you're up.
Is the Ichor Beast almost dead?
Yeah, I mentioned that you could see it visibly injured and straining.
Okay.
Wait, is that almost dead or just bloodied?
It looks pretty bad. Lucian just eviscerated its skull, and it took a lot of its resources to
There goes
repair
all of
that.
its memories.
I mean, he's gonna die anyways, right?
Okay. I will shoot another arrow at it.
All right, go for it.
Some poison to ensure that
Alright,
it goes down.
Yeah, you drag another bolt along your poisonous skin, load it up, and level the crossbow and pull the trigger.
That's only a 10, sadly. Ugh.
As you pull the trigger, your bolt makes a visible whistling as it flies through the air, and without even turning around, the Ichor Beast's tree trunk-like arm swirls around, and your bolt shatters against it. And you can see the poison kind of sizzling against its skin, but it does not appear to be phased. Is that it for you?
Yeah, I don't really think. Why did
Watch,
these
now
things
all the
happen
attacks
to
are gonna
good
miss.
frogs?
Gil, you're up. Raccoon, please roll for damage.
Well, no, he's basically down at this point.
Okay. Also,
Have you done the
Matt, can you
math?
take a DM real quick?
He literally, she has to roll
Don't
all
worry.
ones except for one. She has to roll.
I didn't
all
hear what she
ones.
said.
Yeah, I got your message. Don't worry.
Yeah,
Cool.
she has to roll all ones pretty much in order for him not to die.
Well, it's worth a shot.
But
know.
he takes half damage.
I know. That is with half damage.
Well, so if he didn't take half damage, he would be guaranteed down.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. So just
It's
for
all
this,
right.
yeah.
It's all right. I've got
yeah, we
magic.
got two healers. We're fine.
It's a 9. It's a 9.
All right.
That's-
So is that enough to put you down, Gil?
Yep.
That's what
All right.
Sorry.
you guys watch as
I only
Raccoon.
had 4 health.
So you guys watch as Raccoon's cloud of daggers continues just tornadoing and tearing into the elf's flesh before finally, Gil, you catch one of the daggers all the way from your chin up your cheek to your temple, and as Ickary blood splatters against your eye, you finally just slump, and you try to weakly lift your broadsword, but finally slump against the Ickerbeast's back, unconscious.
And I'm
Raccoon,
I'm
at
still
this
gonna
point-
stare this thing down as I'm going unconscious.
Alright.
I'm still staring at it.
It's there.
Raccoon at this point is just gonna sit there and go, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry.
Speaking of which, Raccoon, you're up.
Okay,
I don't have to make a. I don't
Well, because you
have to make a
just went
save.
down. You don't have to start rolling death saves until it comes back around to you.
okay,
Yeah,
okay.
on
So
your
we
turn.
got some time. We got some time. Hang on.
Unless you
It's alright,
just
I got
attack.
stuff too. It's okay. I got
So
cure
I got-
wounds
so
and
I
spare the
got-
dying. I'm okay.
See what I got.
Do you have chat open?
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you
Can-
see
can-
what the?
Oh, yeah. Divine
Is there a way?
for
Can I,
thing-
can I like
All right, I'm gonna recast. I'm gonna recast the Cloud of Daggers since that seems to be fucking working very well.
All right.
What? What are you casting? Wait, what are you casting?
Yeah, hold on. So Raccoon, real quick, what are you doing? I'm trying to look at chat as well, so.
Sorry, recasting Cloud of Dagger.
No, you keep it. It's there for 1
Yeah,
minute.
it's concentration.
Yeah, you just have to.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so you don't have to.
But
cast
if I
it.
cast something else, it'll dispel it
Well, only if it
because my
requires
concentration will go on.
Another concentration
As
spell.
long as it doesn't require concentration, so like
Yes,
if it's
it does.
no, I'm saying
Oh,
it does.
as long as your new spell doesn't cost concentration. So yeah.
All right, let me see. The only other attack ones that I have. Okay, so yeah, Thunderwave actually doesn't require concentration, weirdly
Very
enough.
good.
So Thunderwave it is. Must make a
Thunderwave.
Constitution saving throw.
All
And I
right.
automatically fail.
And the Ickerbeast succeeds.
Succeeds it. Okay. It just means they take half damage.
So go ahead and roll damage.
Okay. Let's see.
Wait. What?
Can I like
It's
pull up
okay,
the
I got
stream
you,
and
I got
pause
you.
it?
You should be able
Keep
to.
track of
I'll
the
just
chat
pop the
room?
chat out separately.
That's 16.
16 damage. Is that already halved or?
No, that's not half. Half it would be 8.
Okay. All right. So you cast a shattering.
Wait.
Oh.
I forgot that I can do higher levels. Sorry. I had 1d8 for each higher level.
Wait, you're doing thunderclap, right?
Thunderwave.
Oh, thunderwave. Wait.
Sorry, I didn't move the page all the way. Sorry about that.
It's all good.
So starting at second level or higher, so that's like 2 and 3. So add 1d8 for it. So technically, I'd be making 4d8.
All right. Go ahead.
Yeah,
You just roll the extra ones then.
Yeah.
So just to
Okay, so
clarify, if I
that's-
pause the stream, it'll still show me the chat, right?
It should. Yeah.
I have the stream muted, which would be the same thing as pausing it.
Yeah.
But so wait, you
Just
got
don't want it
closer?
lagging my I don't want it lagging my computer.
I get it.
23 and then halved.
My question was, do you get close enough to this? To do this?
Well, they're already near. Like they like with their movement, they would absolutely be able to get in range no matter what the spell's range is, unless it's like
Well,
melee.
It's
Yeah,
up to
so-
15.
Yeah, so Raccoon would get close enough to do it.
Yeah, which is why I didn't say anything. Okay,
Yeah.
so what's the what's the extra damage, and then I'll half it.
All in all, it's 23.
Also,
Okay, so Gil, you fail one of your death saves.
Yep.
And Raccoon, how do you want to do this?
Hey!
What do you mean? Say again?
You win.
Oh!
He's like, what?
Wait, I'm confused. I only heard half of what you were saying. Like, all I heard was how
do
you want to do this,
how do you
and then
wanna
I was like,
finish
what?
him? How do you want to finish him?
Okay, all
You
right.
can thunderwave.
Okay,
How do you wanna-
Since it's... Okay, so... Raccoon is going to walk up to Lorcan, and she's going to look up at him. And even though he is oozing all of this stuff and is absolutely disgusting, she hugs him and then casts Thunderwave.
All right. The Ichor Beast, as Gil falls unconscious, and the daggers begin to just continue their swirl, you watch as the Ichor Beast turns its attention from the unconscious elf to you, and you hug your father as a vibration shakes Nortwix, and you can see bottles start to fall from the shelves and explode onto the floor, and the splintered wood starts to vibrate and crack even further. And looking down, Raccoon, you feel a gooey tar hand against your head and a choking, gasping, "I love you." The Ichor Beast shatters. Tar and ichor splatter against the floor, leaving only the malformed, contorted skeleton of Lorcan Telbront, whose twisted bones fall in a puddle of ichor to the floor, still clutched in your arms, Raccoon.
And Raccoon is going to scream.
I take no time and I run as fast as I can to Gil and use my last spell slot. Just kind of take him by the shoulders and cast Cure Wounds.
All right,
And as
go
I
ahead.
do, I want to kiss him on the lips.
All right. So,
Excuse me?
go ahead and roll for healing. While you're rolling for
Did
healing,
I hear that?
well, you, the player, heard. So while you're rolling for healing, this is the best time I'm going to get to say this. Graham Crackers, thank you for the, if I'm reading this right, 3,000 bits. Luckily, divine intervention was not necessary. The party succeeded on their own merits, as I knew they would. But thank you so much. All right.
Yeah, he totally
you.
had confidence.
Gil.
Also,
Oh, wait. Awesome.
nothing. Not just it's something's going on.
All right. So, Gil, you jolt into consciousness as you feel something soothing and warm wrapped around your head and pressed against you.
And you wake up to Raccoon screaming.
Like, what's happening? This is no time for napping. Where'd it go?
Lucian kind of turns her head to the pile of bones and tar and the wailing raccoon. It's done.
Oh.
No need to sound so disappointed about it.
Lucian, while she is sitting there with Gil, will put her head on his shoulder and start crying.
Gil will try to comfort her as best as he can. And do I see the soldiers outside yet?
Yes, but just a moment. Carol, you were going to say something?
Yes. Carol's gonna look to Geralt and just, Geralt, can you grab Raccoon from the skeleton?
The beast gives a nod and starts to slowly, kind of sadly slink into Nortwix. And Caro, do you want to step in as well or wait?
Yes.
So as you step in, you actually kind of get bumped to the side and kind of slam against the doorway, not damaging you, but it does sting as the soldiers start to rush past you and surround everyone, you included, turning their bayoneted rifles to split their attention between everyone in Nortwicks, as one of them, seeming to be the closest to a man in charge they have, pulls the hammer back on his rifle and levels it at you, Gil. You and your friends are under arrest!
For what?
Mm-hmm.
He holds up a finger. Impersonating a colonel of the Geogran army, and his rifle swivels around to level at Lucian. For whatever demonic magic you brought to the city.
Raccoon is just not even noticing. She's just going to continue screaming over Lorcan's body.
So
I look him down. How dare you? I raise to my feet, and I look at him, not scared of the barrel of the gun.
But you can hear the clicking as the ones around you pull the hammers back.
I don't even flinch. I look him down. How dare you?
So Gil would like to reach into his pocket and bring out his paperwork that he kept of his rank, title, and hold it out to the man in charge.
As you start pulling this out, several of the rifles turn to you. But as you start pulling out the paperwork, the man, still looking at Lucian, just holds up a hand, kind of looking at you out of the corner of his eye. I don't need to see your forged documents, citizen. Geogr hasn't had a colonel in nearly 10 years.
Mm-hmm. And what was his name?
He turns to you and raises an eyebrow. That information is classified, I'm afraid. State's orders. Now I need all of you to come with us.
It wouldn't happen to be Gilgalad, would it?
The soldiers all kind of look to each other and they narrow their eyes at you suspiciously. And he turns his rifle to you. Yes, and he died over a decade ago.
Mm-hmm.
True. No, he didn't. He's still here.
That did happen, yes.
The soldier stares at you and then turns to one next to him. Add aiding and abetting a conspiracy to the charges.
Add what you will. The general knows who I am.
We'll see about that.
At this point, Lucian is just going to cross her arms and look him down. I don't think so. If it wasn't for us, this town, this city, would have been in peril for that thing.
Not true.
Shut up.
You kind of made it a problem.
I mean, out of character, you know.
He would have gone mad anyways.
Yeah, really.
The soldier raises an eyebrow. Then care to explain why you bleed exactly like it does?
I am not bleeding like it does. It affected me somehow. It is not my fault that I am like this.
Then we need to bring you in anyway to make sure it hasn't done something to you.
Lucian,
Basically, there's no getting out of this.
they're not going to be persuaded.
If
Just
you have a
go with
problem,
it.
no, Gil, listen. If they have a problem, I think I would like to request, if a doctor is going to look at me, I would like to request the Dr. Watson because I trust him.
Very well, but the general will need to decide what to do with you first. Now, I need all of you to come with us willingly.
Gil will stand up and sheath his sword. If we must.
The rest of you.
Well, Raccoon isn't bleeding at all, so there's no reason for them to think that she did it, and she just did basically the finishing blow. And she's basically just sitting there absolutely unconsolably crying and screaming and wailing right now. So
Before what they do next, I'd like to turn your attention back to them hurling racial slurs at the orcs living in the city.
They don't give a fuck.
no, I'm just saying this is how she is right now. So like,
They don't care.
Uh,
I kind of move a little backwards without taking my eyes off of the presumably the one in charge, and I reach down for Raccoon.
She is not going to say anything. She's just going to sob and basically just like scream Lorcan's name. Absolutely inconsolable.
I look at the man in charge. Do you hear that sound? Do you see what is happening in front of you? How dare you try to arrest us while this little creature is mourning the death of her father?
Is that what it's doing? I just heard a bunch of babbling.
Oh, so that was his father?
Can you consciously say that you would not be the same way?
Lucian.
Given that I'm tall
military.
and not green, yes.
That's when you say no. That's when you say that it's her adoptive father. He's not. He's an elf.
That monster was her father, her adoptive father, the one who took care of her.
Well, then I suppose we should have it executed just to be sure it doesn't spread whatever he had.
It's making it worse.
Gil's going to pick up Raccoon and say,
She is not going to accept that.
Yep. Oh.
he's going to do it either
grapple
way.
contest.
Grapple check.
She is going to like claw her way back to like Lorcan, or like not away from him, like not wanting to let go at all.
All right. So grapple contest. If Gil, you want to keep trying.
Hey, if she has to, she will use her nails.
She will attack.
21.
Go for it. Get a
Are these
natural
guys
20.
humans or elves?
Elves.
Okay.
I am an elf.
Well, the guards.
The
Alright,
soldiers.
grapple- is that a strength check?
You can make an athletics or acrobatics check. Gil has to make an athletics check, which you got a 21 total.
While they're
Alright, I'm
doing
going
that,
to do-
I will step back over to him and
That's a
stare him
23.
Ooh.
Nice.
All right. So real quick before you do your thing, Lucian. Gil, as you start picking up Raccoon, you feel Goblin's claws dig into your arm, and you're forced to let go as Raccoon just bites down on your hand. And as you release the Goblin, they claw and scramble their way back to Lorcan's contorted, disfigured skeleton.
These guards are gonna lose their patience.
During that, like Raccoon's just gonna screech, no, and like try to get back.
I look back at the guard. Do I look tall, green to you?
He raises an eyebrow and kind of, not like actually touching you, but kind of jabs the bayonet in the direction of your stomach where you had been previously injured and bleeding. Don't need to have green skin, but you certainly have black blood, and that's certainly enough that the general's going to want to take a look at you.
Like I said, I would rather
We're not
have
getting
a
out of
doctor.
this.
Like I said, I'd rather have the doctor look at me than, a general. Somebody
You
of
will
a
be
medical.
given medical attention, but this has to go to the general first before we do anything else.
We're not getting out of this.
Kind of sighs deeply.
Lucian, get Raccoon, please.
I turn around and I get down on my knees next to Raccoon. Raccoon, honey.
Raccoon is going to whip around at her, like face contorted in anger, and say, "Don't talk to me right now. This is your fault."
She shakes her head. No. He was already a monster.
Don't talk to me right now.
We have to go. It is either we go or you join him. And I don't want to lose you too. Please, Raccoon.
DM, I got a question.
What's up?
During this time while Lucian's talking to Raccoon, can I be pulling my rope out of my backpack?
the guards are going to be training their weapons on you the whole time, and they do seem to be getting very impatient.
So I'm going to quickly form a slip knot and put it around Cat Raccoon's arms so she can't move, and restrain her and carry her so we can get out of here.
Like, is that a grapple check or what's wrong?
Damn.
I'm going to
Well,
count
why
this
would you
as...
do that? Because I was about
Yeah,
to say what she was just about to
Yeah,
do.
you did give her a
Because you
chance.
are.
Wait, can I finish saying?
Yeah, please give her a chance.
Well,
Let him finish, then you can do your thing.
I was gonna say that Raccoon was gonna stalk away from Lucian and climb up the back of Gil's shirt and just like hold onto his back like a backpack, but no, I'm not gonna do that anymore. You lost your chance.
Either way.
Either way, either she's gonna like you or not.
Either way, we gotta go before somebody else dies.
Mhm.
Look, I know that you're not happy with me right now.
She
Raccoon.
is going to hiss at her.
Yeah, expected.
I kind of look down at my boots. A nod. We need to go.
Raccoon is going to stand up and walk past her, not like touching her or anything, just like walking around her. Is Keto being trained on as well?
Yeah, like everyone, and like the guards are just splitting their attention between everyone. You notice the ones dealing with Garrow are kind of keeping their distance, but their rifles trained. Like none of them being ballsy enough to start jabbing at a tiger.
Yeah, she is going towards Keto and Ghetto, and is just going to cuddle up to the cat.
Aren't you restrained, right? Since you just.
Well, no, they didn't
No,
actually.
I didn't
No.
We're just
actually
pulling the
do it.
rope out, so Raccoon ducked out. And Garrow kind of protectively hunches over you and kind of glares at the surrounding soldiers. And the quote unquote man in charge kind of looks around lazily. Whose beast is this?
Sorry, in reference to Garo?
Yeah.
That is mine.
Very well. Control it.
Control your men.
Yeah,
What'd you
let's
say?
go.
Control your men.
Silently, like.
Oh, take that, man.
Does Garrow actually say that?
She mutters it, but
Right.
has Garo come closer to her.
And Garrow kind of gently pulls Raccoon along, kind of keeping most of their kind of imposing figure over the mourning goblin. And the elves kind of gesture downwards for all of you to fall to your knees as the several of them start to break out manacles. And the man in charge kind of lazily rolls his eyes. You'll all wait here under observation until the general can come to decide what to do with you.
Okay. Can I at least have a chair?
The guy raises an eyebrow but says, as long as you're comfortable with being manacled to it.
Yes. Go ahead.
Are you saying
Knock
monocle,
yourself
like
out.
the eyepiece?
Manacles, like
Manacles.
handcuffs.
Yeah, they're
No,
like
like manacles.
Like old-fashioned handcuffs.
Mm-hmm.
So do all of you cooperate?
Yeah.
Yes.
Mm.
All right.
Raccoon is gonna go kind of like emotionally catatonic. So yes.
Like Gil's actually gonna help him put him on.
Gotta do it like this.
Yeah.
You're doing it wrong. They'll get out.
The guy kind of raises an eyebrow, like this is just like one of the soldiers, and nods, and two others break out manacles, and just to be on the safe side, triple manacle you to the chair.
This guy's a fucking weirdo.
All right. And
Overload of
as
barnacles.
all of you are tied down, or rather manacled down, with the exception of Garrow, who just has several of the riflemen trained on them at all times. the man nods to one of the soldiers, who quickly scurries away from the tavern. Zephyr and Caleb.
I'm just going to add that Caleb's probably spent his whole time just petting the horse.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Zephyr, as Gil parts ways with you, you decide to head to regroup with your brother, and sure enough, as he had told you, he is currently not too far from the stables, fawning over a delightful, kind of almost blonde-furred little pony.
You enjoying yourself?
Does Caleb see Zephyr approaching?
Yeah, and he says, you enjoying yourself?
Oh yeah, I like this. I've always been interested in horses, especially small ones.
The pony gives a little...
We needed that after what just happened.
Yeah, some much-needed brevity.
So how was your thing you were doing? Did you get anything?
It was so far a bust, but for future stuff, maybe.
What happened to your not friend who steals from you?
Oh, I think he mentioned going back to the tavern or something, or no, he was going to warn them about the whole guards.
Oh yeah, all the guards running around. Hopefully
Yeah.
they haven't had any trouble with him.
Well,
Yeah, don't we all hope?
knowing Gil, I mean, I can't
Wouldn't
say.
keep my hopes up.
I was like, I don't know. I don't know either way, but
That innkeeper guy, he was looking kind of bad, wasn't he?
yeah.
Hopefully
Yeah.
they don't take too long.
Well, I mean, don't we have to go back to the tavern?
Oh yeah, did we say we were gonna do that?
Yeah, we mentioned we were gonna regroup back at the tavern.
Well, I guess we should. We probably have to leave the cart here, huh?
I mean, why is that?
Are the roads big enough for carts?
Oh, absolutely. It's a pretty large city.
I would assume so. Otherwise, how are we gonna get it out?
Caleb's like, well, I guess no need to walk.
Yeah.
I guess, and he hops on the cart, ready to go.
Yeah.
To the tavern to pick everyone up.
And then he, Zephyr will hop on, and Zephyr will be like, well, I guess being you're my brother, I should help you out. He's going to kind of go through his bag and like do some like, you can see him like dumping some gold into like another bag that's bigger. He's going to give you a bag full of 100 gold. This will
Wow.
This will help you on some expenses.
Thanks. But I have to be honest, I was not expecting that.
Well, you are my brother.
Yeah, but you know how this family can be.
Yes, but if we are to work together, and I would rather not be put in a situation like, I guess today where you couldn't buy what you needed.
Yeah, I should have asked for more money, but I didn't. But let's head to the tavern and pick everyone up.
All right, let's go.
And
All right.
Caleb will direct the pony to go take them to
The tavern.
towards the tavern.
All right. You give a little click of the reins. I will mention, by the way, you can give it a different name if you prefer, but the name the pony comes pre-equipped with is Dewdrop.
I like it.
So you give a small, gentle nudge of the reins, and Dewdrop. You've already spent a lot of time just fawning over it, so I'll, for the time being, it's calm and cooperative. And the little creature begins to pull your cart along. And as you're just about to clear the market area and start down the street of the tavern, you feel a rumble, a very low rumble in the ground.
Whoa. You feel that rumble?
Yeah.
Wonder
You
what's
see-
going on.
You see several of the Gyogran soldiers beginning to like empty out of the street that you know Nortwick's to be on, and just fanning out in different directions.
That, I wonder what's going on there with all the guards moving away like that.
Well, not sure, but seems like we should get to the tavern quickly, you know.
Alright. Probably for the best. And he's gonna try to see if Dewdrop can move a little bit fast, can pick up a little bit of pace.
After the rumble, Dewdrop is kind of nervously, kind of cantering in place, kind of looking around nervously.
Can Caleb like reach over to like pat it to try and calm it down?
Make me an animal handling check, and again, I'll give you advantage since you've spent like hours just fawning over this thing. So, and it's trained, so it likes you and it's well trained. So,
Oh, good thing I had advantage.
Mhm.
I only get +1 animal handling though. 12
something.
in total.
you pet Dewdrop, and it doesn't like super calm, but it does like it goes from like actively like kind of acting scared to more just kind of nervously looking about. And as you give another click of the reins, it without even direction starts to kind of go picking up speed as if kind of trying to nervously get away from whatever the source of the rumbling was. And you turn down the street and start to head toward Nortwick's. As you approach, you see a perimeter of Gyogran soldiers established, blocking streetway entry, both up and down the street. Just holding rifles at the ready, and you can already see them starting to kind of stare suspiciously at you as you approach. And you can see the door of Nortwick's is open, and you can see like one of the windows is cracked and another one is shattered entirely.
Oh, Caleb just says, "Oh dear," and he's gonna direct the horse to. Is there like another road they can go on? Like
you would have
that's anywhere like that they wouldn't have to do a complete U-turn to get on.
not from this street. The streets are big, but there's not a lot of like crossway between them. So yeah, you would have to like turn completely around, which you can do. Just like if you want to get onto another street.
They would find that suspicious if we rolled up here, turned completely
nope,
around.
I'm gone. I mean,
Well, I will say in fairness, it looks like they want you to stay away. So like
Caleb's gonna go ahead and get Dewdrop to start turning around, and he's gonna look to Zephyr. So that doesn't look good. And I have a feeling they would not appreciate us trying to get closer. And I don't
Yes.
think we should sit here either.
no.
So we should try to find somewhere so we can maybe try to get get up on a building and look over.
Possibly, yeah. Somewhere. I mean, definitely we should go somewhere else and try to figure out what our next move is.
So Caleb's gonna turn this around and try to find like some kind of side road or something to put the cart in for now.
easy enough to do. There's plenty of those in the city. So you find a small sequestered little area close to the market, but still are like close enough to the street where Nortwick's is, and you get your cart and pony as relatively into hiding as you can, at least making it look like it's more just part of the environment rather than just like standing out overtly and abandoned. And as you tie Dewdrop off so it doesn't wander off with your cart, the two of you disembark. What would you like to do?
What's the buildings around Nortwick's like?
So most of the architecture here is most of the buildings are multi-storied, but they are all clay with stone like foundations. And Zephyr, you know from experience that they are climbable, but it takes some effort.
What would you roll for that?
For both of you, since you're both rogues and should both have second story work, I believe.
I don't think so. I don't think.
Or is that just a thief thing?
think that's the thing. Yes.
Yeah. So you would both roll acrobatics or athletics, your choice to climb. Zephyr would get advantage because of second story work.
Okay, I have. Well, I'm gonna have to use acrobatics because my athletics is terrible.
Same.
So do you guys want to get? Roof bound?
Yeah.
Sure.
I'll try.
All right. So both of you make your rolls. Just like for flavor, tell me what you rolled, but all that really matters is the number. So.
Yeah, I'm gonna do acrobatics.
That's gonna be 12 in total.
Right.
Okay.
Good thing I have advantage. Roll 3.
Oh jeez.
But I rolled a natural 20. All right, I'm gonna get on this.
Oh, nice. All right. So Zephyr.
Assassin's Creed made me think to climb on buildings.
Hey, it works. So Caleb, you again, like with the stone foundations and the clay structure, there's plenty of like areas for you to work with, and you start to Zephyr, you watch as your brother starts to not as quickly or like dexterously as you start to work his way up the building. And Caleb, as you're climbing, you can hear some like scuffling to your side and see Zephyr just like bounding, like practically just leaping from one handhold to the next as he works his way up the building. But as
show off.
Zephyr, you reach the roof by the time Caleb is about halfway up. You can help him up if you want.
Yeah.
Because, not 20, so.
Yeah, I'll help him up.
So, Caleb, as you're climbing, Zephyr offers a hand to get you onto the roof a bit quicker.
Okay.
You got my
So,
skinny arms.
I guess now we have to get to a roof that we can overlook from, or can we see it from here?
You can see Nortwick's from here, but you can't, but the buildings are relatively close together. There are alleyways, but they're fairly narrow, so you won't really have to make checks, although if you want to be sneaky, you will have to roll stealth.
Oh, I am pretty good at stealth.
I would hope so, being that both of you are rogues.
I have +7 to stealth, so...
Yeah, that works. So if you guys want to be sneaky, both of you roll stealth.
That'll be a 19 in total.
Okay. Zephyr?
Right.
If you want to be sneaky.
Yeah, no, I'll be sneaky, my brother.
Stealth basically like you roll.
Alright,
like
so let's see. Doing the math.
Depends on the situation.
Well, I'm trying to do
like, do
math
they roll
here.
against our stealth check or something, and that's how you decide?
Well, I think it'd be passive perception if they're not.
Yeah, well, again, it depends on the situation. Sometimes they'll roll, sometimes it'll be passive, sometimes it'll just be a DC that the DM decides.
Well, here's the thing. I apologize, Caleb. I got a nat 1.
Oh,
Is that
Jesus.
gonna ruin my roll?
Well, they're gonna probably see me, and then in turn probably see you.
All right,
That's
so
a pretty good roll, Matthew. At least make.
let's see how it plays out before you start making judgment calls on me.
Even then, it happens.
So the two of you start deftly kind of staying low to the tiles of the roof, start making your way up the street by rooftop. And you guys manage to get to the building directly across the street from Nortwick's. Caleb, you deftly land and go to hide to where you'll be out of the guard's line of sight but able to see in. But as you're like getting into position so that you can see through the open door, not directly in because of the angle, but you'll at least be able to see some of the like entryway of Nortwick's, you hear a kind of clattering sound, and Zephyr, as you land, your foot knocks one of the roof's tiles loose, and there's a very tense pause, and you hear it
Good job.
shatter against the street. And Zephyr, still kind of on the edge of the roof, and you don't have time to hide. You hear the clicking of rifle hammers, and you look to see the line of guards all now leveling their rifles up at you. And one of them kind of gestures with his rifle. This area is now under Gyogran jurisdiction. Get down from there.
Guard stutters a lot.
Sorry, that's my fault.
No. Make it a character choice. It's great.
Stuttering guard.
Yeah, that'll be his name on our TV tropes page. Stuttering guard.
Yeah, stuttering guard.
We have a TV Chirps page.
Let's see. All right, so here's what Zephyr's going to do. he's going to kind of just glance at Caleb and then in a different direction, obviously, bolt.
Okay.
Don't be suspicious. Don't be suspicious.
Don't be suspicious. Don't be suspicious.
I could have Caleb suggest to him that he just goes somewhere else to lure them away.
Well, I mean, that's what he's doing.
That's what he's gonna do anyway. It's just like,
Yeah. Well, yeah, like literally him and Caleb were on the same wavelength there.
Hey, you're brothers. Makes sense. The guard who had done the gesture and yelled at you immediately starts like waving to like a kind of chunk of the guards doing a perimeter on the street. After him, go! And Zephyr, you immediately hear the pounding of boots following behind you. You can actually hear several shots already being fired. But with you running, being a very small target and high up in the air, the bullets kind of just whiz by you, although one dangerously shatters against a roof tile just as your foot leaves it. And you going in a particular direction, or are you just bolting?
I mean, I'm trying to think, how am I gonna get down?
This is police brutality.
If I can get down, I can outrun them.
This is like, yeah, police brutality. No, this isn't police brutality. This is what these kinds of police do.
Well, man, it's still police brutality. It's just what they do.
Yeah, police brutality nonetheless. It is
No, their
brutality
brutality is
committed
that
by the police.
Their version of police brutality is the police massacre an entire group of people.
Well, hey, give us a few minutes.
So this is what he meant by the end of an arc.
We're all dead, yeah. Alright, roll a new campaign.
Good campaign, everyone.
Yeah, nah,
Each arc is a new set of characters.
yeah, I have a few ready. But either way,
Me
what
too.
do I see? Like, what
I'd have to make a character.
All right, so Zephyr, in your immediate periphery, you can see Dr. Watson's clinic, as well as the surrounding houses that you've seen before. And then there's the street, like on the opposite side of the houses. The soldiers chasing you are currently occupying your right, the street to your right, basically just trying to keep you in their line of sight. Although you can see some of them starting to split off and get into alleyways. So if you don't act quickly, you will be surrounded on all sides.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm just
Their
like,
meter is starting to drop, though.
like, I'm just like thinking to myself, like, is there like,
Matt,
I'm on the
do you
roof,
get it,
so-
Matthew?
Yeah.
Are the detection meters dropping yet, Matthew?
No, he is firmly in their line of sight, and they're shooting at him.
So
so
they're still full red.
yeah. Can I see a way down to the streets? You know.
There are basically you would risk potentially landing pretty hard, but there are pipes and little stone foundations that you could slide down and start making a run forward on the ground if you want. But again, you would risk taking a fall. Like there's no guaranteed means of doing so, especially if you're trying to be quick.
I would have to roll for it, which you know. Just try. I mean, I guess I'm just gonna. I'm gonna bolt towards Nortwick's.
Okay.
As in the tavern?
Yeah, so he's like basically like doubling back around. Okay, we'll come back to you, Caleb. You're hidden. The guards do not appear to have spotted you. And as you watch your brother flee and you can hear gunshots in the distance, you crouch down and you're able to see into the entryway of Nortwick. You don't see any of the party. However, you do see what appears to be skeletal remains, but mutated and deformed beyond recognition of what it once was, in a pool of ichor and tar. And you see Garrow with several Gyogran soldiers leveling rifles at them. But that's all you can see from your elevated position. And the perimeter is reduced by about half now.
Raccoon's basically next to Garrow too.
Mm-hmm.
Caleb's just like looking at the situation. He's like, damn, if I was a little bit older, maybe I could have stolen some armor and actually been convincing. Because he's still young, so it would be kind of obvious if he tried to.
Yeah, just tiny little child in military armor.
So.
Well, while you're thinking, what were you going to say?
Stop!
Six?
And it's just like, who are you, small child?
Yeah. Who
What's up?
are you?
He's a trainer.
Dad!
Who are you?
What'd you say?
It sounded like you were going to say something. What were you saying?
Yeah, I was saying, like, if you can see Kero, he'd be able to see Raccoon, since Raccoon and Gero are right next to her.
Mm-hmm. Well, no, he can see Gero, but yes, you can see Raccoon, but like kind of sheltered. That's why I didn't immediately mention it, because Gero's like deliberately kind of shielding you from outside view.
So, like, is it just kind of a random smattering of the half, or one side of the blockade is gone?
Basically, there's two lines, one guarding an opposite end of the street, and each line reduced itself by about half to pursue Zephyr.
Okay, so they still got perfect coverage.
Yeah.
Well, I guess
And you can.
there's not really a lot Caleb could do right now. So he's just going to try to stay. He's just going to keep observing for now.
Okay.
There's not a lot he can really do at this point in time.
Okay. Zephyr, I'll say since you doubling back did genuinely kind of catch them off guard, and they had already started splitting up to try and cut off your retreat going forward, I'll let you make another stealth check, because you actually did manage to like kind of.
So basically, their meters are in the yellow. Now you got to try to get it to go away.
Well, yeah, because basically they started splitting up and were all full tilt running to try and cut off him going forward. They weren't expecting him to immediately, because they can't reach him or stop him. So him doubling back will give him a chance to get out of sight.
Just all these. I'm just like imagining it like a. I'm basically just imagining all this in the context of Assassin's Creed right now.
Yeah, it's not that far off.
Like the meters are all like basically they're depleting, but now you have to try and find a hiding spot.
18.
All right. So Zephyr, as you see the guards start to split up, the thought occurs to you like, oh yeah, there's very few places I can go going forward. So you immediately double back, and as you do, you slide your foot against the roof and deliberately kick several tiles down at the pursuing guards, and then they have to kind of dodge out of the way to avoid getting smashed in the face with clay bricks. And as they're busy with that, you immediately start going full tilt back towards Caleb and manage to duck and weave, staying out of the periphery of the pursuing guards. As far as you can tell, that you can still hear them searching for you, but you seem to have lost the active pursuit.
Mm-hmm.
Now the yellow circle has appeared.
Caleb, as you wait in hiding, you hear hurried small footprints working their way back towards you as Zephyr slides onto the roof and ducks to stay with you in your kind of hiding spot on the opposite slope of the roof.
Did you lose them?
I believe so.
Assume he whispered that.
Of course, yeah, stage whisper.
Yeah. I believe so.
Well, all I've been able to see is the frog. The frog's pet, and I think maybe the goblins down there. But I don't see anything else. They're all surrounded by guards. And the inside of the tavern does not look good. I think maybe something happened to the tavern keeper.
Not sure. Well, I mean, does look a bit, destroyed. So who knows what happened?
I don't know what the next move we should make is. I figured we just observe for now, see if any opening is created.
Yes, and I guess it'd be best to see if there's any. While I may have lost them, they're probably going to, check the roofs eventually. So
we may need to find a new hiding spot.
Yes, with time, but it'll take them a bit to probably figure that out.
Well, we'll just see what we can see for now and prepare to move to somewhere else if we must.
All right.
So I guess we'll just keep a lookout for anything that changes in the situation.
Okay, so you guys are just going to wait and see what happens?
observe,
Yeah.
see what happens to this tiger that we can see.
This scene transition applies to both groups. So, you guys know who you're with and who you can interact with. So feel free to just speak up freely. But of course, make sure you give everyone equal chance. So, for those of you waiting on the roof and those of you waiting manacled in the tavern, an hour passes, 2 hours. Finally, once it's been about 2.5, Zephyr and Caleb, you both see that the pursuing guards have returned to the line. And from what you're able to glean from listening to them, they are going to report Zephyr to the general, but aren't willing to sacrifice the defense of Nortwix in pursuit of Zephyr.
Do they know it's me?
Well, yeah, just you can hear the description, so you know they're referring to you, but they don't. Yeah, they don't use your name. Finally, after about 2.5 hours of just waiting, Zephyr and Caleb, you see the dressed to the nines, very angry and unsettled looking General Gyoger stomping down the street, flanked by the soldiers that you saw running through the marketplace earlier.
Caleb's like, does Caleb immediately recognize him as that guy? Or do I
believe. I believe his name and connection to Gil has been mentioned in front of you. So yeah, I'll rule that you do recognize him as General Gyoger.
Well, this seems serious. Saying it to Zephyr.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah. Hopefully. Well, we'll see what happens to our party.
So though, I guess I'll just keep observing for now.
We're just in observant mode.
I mean, they just don't know what else they can do.
I'm not judging you. I was just letting you do what you want to do. All right, so after 2.5 hours of waiting in chains, you guys finally hear footsteps, and Gil, your father, with a long military coat billowing behind him and black military boots, stomps into the remains of Nortwix with his arms crossed, and he looks pissed. And he doesn't acknowledge you. And the soldiers that followed him surround him protectively, and the who we will now identify as Stuttering Guard approaches him and kind of gives a very nervous bow of the head and begins explaining the situation to him in Elvish. Those of you who speak Elvish in the party, of course, are basically the gist of what he's reporting to the general is that a demon appeared in this tavern and was turned on by its demon children before the soldiers managed to corral the situation.
Yeah, the soldiers.
I will say Lucian at this point will also look really pissed off, and she will turn her attention to the general. Excuse me, sir. Please. We met at the party. You remember me, Lucian Elefikir? I demand to be released at once.
The general just stares at you, and his gaze turns to Gil. His arms still crossed, that furious look in his eyes. If this is some underhanded attempt to humiliate me further, then consider your job done.
No, it's not. Don't you think I have better use of my time?
He rolls his eyes, and the Stuttering Guard speaks up. General Gyoger, this man claims to be the deceased colonel, and the general just raises an eyebrow. Oh, so our colonels are coming back from the dead, are we? That certainly gives us a strategic advantage in future military conflicts. Then the guard kind of looks a bit embarrassed and nods. Of course, General.
What if you could give me a test and I can prove that it's me?
The general's gaze turns to you. You can see he's still pissed, but he's just keeping himself calm. And he raises an eyebrow and said, "Would a father need a test to identify his own children?"
Apparently.
The general stares at you, silent.
You
for
may
a
not like me, but as you know, I am him.
I will not tolerate this disrespect of the deceased. And he turns on his heel away from you and turns towards you, Lucian.
Could I like cast Zone of Truth?
The guards will notice unless you really nail a sleight of hand check to cast it without being noticed.
Raccoon will speak up like, if you don't think he's telling the truth, why not have a Zone of Truth cast? That way you'll know none of us are lying, and none of us will try to go against it.
Wait, can you cast Zone of Truth?
Yep.
Well, no. Like, how many spell slots do you have left?
I've got one left.
One left, really?
I have one left.
Yeah. All right.
Because I only cast twice. I only cast Cloud. Or no, wait, I did use 3, didn't I? I used Cure Wounds. Never mind.
You use Cloud Daggers and Cure Wounds.
But they upcast those.
I did Thunderwave, remember?
Oh, yeah.
Twice.
Thunderwave.
I killed Lorican with Thunderwave.
Yeah.
How can you forget that?
The general raises an eyebrow before, still trying to keep his calm, says, "We don't have any casters on hand, and I'm not going to trust the word of, what did you refer to them as?" And the stuttering guard kind of gives a nod, and in common, "Ickabeast, sir, like ink." And the general gives a nod. "We're not going to trust the word of an Ickabeast on whether this person is my son, deceased over 10 years ago."
The only Ickabeast that was here was Lorican. They were trying to kill him after something happened, and he turned into a monster in front of us, and none of us knew what was going on. Would you sit there and let somebody just attack if they were attacking others and could kill others? Would you sit by?
No, and that's why I'm here.
And that's why we were attacking that. Did you not see that we killed him? Did they not see that we killed them? Did they not see that I had to kill my own father?
He raises an eyebrow and turns to the stuttering guard, who stands at attention and gives a salute. "We slayed the Ickabeast as you would have us do, General."
None of you did anything.
Even through.
None of you did anything.
How dare you?
You will not take the credit for killing the man that I had to kill that raised me. This is not your honor to take. It is a dishonor on everyone.
Can Caleb and Zephyr hear all the yelling?
Yeah, you can. You just hear kind of mumbled conversation. You can't quite make out what they're saying, but you absolutely hear Raccoon and Lucian yelling.
Sounds like they're having
going on.
Yeah, sounds like they're having an argument.
Caleb's like, I wish there was some way we could sneak around all these guards.
I look back at the general. Well?
Raccoon's going to say, "This is not an honor for anybody. A good man was killed today due to reasons that none of us know
or understand.
So rather than sitting here trying to claim that we are doing whatever he was is just absolute. It's.
The general just stares at you, totally emotionless, and turns to you, Lucian. "I was told that you wish to speak with Dr. Watson for medical treatment for injuries sustained during the battle."
I kind of nod down to my abdomen where I'm probably still, I'm like pretty hurt. I look pretty hurt. and I'm covered in
As-
that black ink. I'll say, yes, that thing attacked me, and while we were trying to defend ourselves, it got me, and now I'm covered in it.
Was question. Now that Lorcan is dead, did all of our blood color change back to red, or is she now bleeding red?
No, it's still ichor.
Still black? Okay.
The general holds up a hand and says, "We can figure out who killed what and who is or isn't an ichor beast after a thorough interrogation. But much as I may not like it, medical assistance must come first." And he snaps his fingers, and the guards in the tavern all stand at attention. And he says, "We'll take them to meet the doctor. And once he's given them all a thorough examination, they will spend the foreseeable future in a local prison cell until we discuss with the Father Khan what to do with them."
I beg your pardon, sir, but I think you'll find that we are innocent.
That's for the Khan to decide.
Then give them a chance to actually take a look at this. I don't think we're going to get out of this without going with them, and I think we just need to stop fighting. I'm tired.
The stuttering guard kind of gives a smile. "Listen to the little monster."
I think you'll mean yourself.
Oof.
The guard kind of immediately goes for the trigger of his rifle, but the general holds a hand up in front of him and says, "The Father Khan shall decide on their judgment. Come, I've already organized a meeting with the doctor." And as the general's about to turn, he stops and starts to look at all of you, his eyes progressively narrowing as his eyes fall on each of you in turn. He kind of licks his lips. "Where are the other two?"
Oh.
They already left.
Don't know. They left before we came here.
No honor among thieves, is it?
We split up just before this happened. They were going to get, like, stuff to help us, like, go wherever. I don't really know, but we don't know where they're at. For all we know, they left without us. They took all the money.
Took all the money? What?
Quote unquote. Quote unquote.
Yeah. He kind of smirks a little bit, seeming to instantly buy your story
Awesome,
without
I'm supposed to tell them the
about it.
truth.
I know, it's just funny. It's just like, took all the money. I don't know.
And
Hang
he...
on a sec.
Nope.
Pause for just 1 second. Somebody's knocking at my door.
No problem, go ahead. Take a moment to get some wah.
Oh yeah, that sounds great. Where is my wall? There it is.
It's intense. Everyone holding up okay?
I don't know. I think I need to get some
Did you
alcohol.
say shit's in 10?
Shit's intense.
Must kill them all.
Yeah, welcome to the Yogren territories.
They're cowards.
Like
Kill them.
This is
to
why
kill.
he left.
I mean that, the fact that you're dead.
Rising.
Yes.
But he's not dead.
I mean, you died. It's good chance that you died at one point or another. It's what it seems.
His heart stopped for a
apparently.
second.
I got better.
I'm back.
What is that?
That's a Monty Python reference for all of you, even in the audience.
Alright, what I missed? What's up?
Tis
What I missed?
We were just
Neighbor
making
was
Monty
wanting to
Python
buy-
references while you were gone. So,
Neighbor was wanting to borrow $10.
it's all good. The general raises a hand, and the soldiers start to pull all of you up by your manacles, and a few of the soldiers kind of nervously start jabbing in just the general vicinity of Garrow. And the general, "You'll all come with me willingly. I'd really rather this not turn to a fight. The doctor's already waiting for you," and he kind of looks around again. "I'll see about having the city search for your missing friends."
I would appreciate that.
We had too sneaky.
Can Caleb and Zephyr hear that?
You don't hear that. Again, like the neutral tone they can't hear because they're across the street on the roof. But you guys, so does everyone cooperate with the guards more or less?
Yes.
I guess.
Begrudgingly.
All right, so all of you are pulled by your manacles. Raccoon, the guards seem content to just observe you protectively in Garrow's shadow, but do kind of prod Garrow along with that bayonet point. Zephyr and Caleb, you watch as the general at the head, soldiers start to pour out, dragging your friends behind them in chains.
Shit, I just realized.
Do you think we should follow them?
So, can I see them on top of the roof as we're walking away?
Make a perception check.
Fuck yeah.
Technically.
Okay.
Because I remember what you guys' stealth checks were, so why not?
I was gonna say I do.
Well, do you?
I got a 22.
Oh,
I got a 22 too.
All right. So as you guys are pulled out into the sunlight, your eyes kind of having to adjust after being in Norwich for almost 3 uninterrupted hours. You do just barely glimpse the blonde and red, respectively, crown of the Rogue brothers' heads on the opposite roof of Norwich.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to cast a cantrip that's called Message.
What are the components of Message?
You point your finger towards a creature within range and whisper a message, which I'm pretty sure I can do that without pointing, maybe, or just kind of point over my shoulder. The target and only the target hears the message, and can reply in a whisper that only you can hear. You can cast a spell through solid objects if you're familiar with the target.
What does it say under component?
It says VSM.
I can't hear over all of you.
He's saying what is the material component, which is a short piece of copper wire.
Oh.
That's what he's saying.
Let's see.
Yeah, a short piece of copper wire is the material component.
Yeah, bards can use their instrument, which is why I was asking, because if there's a material component, you're going to use
penny whistle is a copper penny whistle.
Yeah, so are you going to try and use your whistle while surrounded by guards?
Well, I can cast without using the whistle, right?
Well, but then you would need a copper wire, and again, even then, you'd have to get away with it while surrounded.
Can it just be copper in general? Because my penny whistle is a copper penny whistle.
I'll allow that, sure. It's a piece of copper. I'm not going to be that demanding about it.
All right. Let's see.
The question is who you're going to target that to.
I'm going to blow softly into it, but not enough to make any noise from it. Just put my lips around it like I'm chewing on it, or just not really blowing into it, just but it's enough to make it's enough to make just a noise, but not like a whistle noise.
Mm-hmm. The guards around you kind of glare down at you, but seeing as it's just to their eyes harmless instrument, they don't they basically just kind of give you a glare and continue kind of jabbing Garrow along to keep you moving.
I'm going to keep fiddling with it in front of my mouth, and then I'm going to mumble. I'm going to say, I'm going to target Zephyr, and I'm going to say, Lorcan went on the rampage and he changed, and they think that we have something to do with it. They think that we are all demons and they are trying to take us. They are looking for both of you. You need to stay out of sight, stay out of mind, and do your best to stay away, or do what you can, alright?
I guess he will reply. Hearing, I think it's sort of like a whisper in your head, just...
Yeah, like you basically hear as if Raccoon was next to you, a whisper.
Yeah, he kind of looks around, but just sort of okay, and he will be I guess he doesn't know the spells, I guess he'll say I'm not sure what our next move should be, but...
And then I'm going to say, they're taking us to Dr. Watson.
Okay, I guess they'll probably have the place guarded, so...
If you want to see if you can't get your father to do anything.
I doubt it, but possibly maybe.
Maybe both you and Caleb together. Or something. They don't know what's going to happen. Whatever happens, the general is apparently going to decide our fate, and if he doesn't like what he hears, there's a good chance they may decide to execute us.
Yeah. Also, technically, I think it's a whisper that only, but I think technically Caleb could hear me just talking to myself.
Yeah, like so. Caleb
Caleb's
from
just looking at him like, who are you talking to?
He just looks at him and just goes back to his message. All right. Well,
I can recast it towards Caleb as well and repeat the same message.
well, I was gonna reply it to him or tell him what's going on, pretty much. But
Okay.
well, I guess we'll see what we could do. Yeah. Hopefully we can get out of this.
Yeah. Be careful.
Will do. And then I guess I'll go to Caleb and kind of just tell him, hey, I'll be like, so it seems the little one was sort of talking to me and seems they're in trouble. As you mentioned, the tavern bartender is not it didn't seem to make it, and we went on a rampage, and
The soldiers blamed him now?
What?
The soldiers blamed them, I guess?
Yeah, they are being. Seems they have suspicion on them, but they are being taken to Dr. Watson right now. I'm not sure what our next plan is.
Well, if they have been arrested, then maybe. Did you say that our father put y'all up to task?
Well, I believe we do have some information on what he has asked for, but he just simply asked us to get information on the Concord and relay it to him. But that was from what I gather our goal.
Oh, maybe we can convince him to maybe try to do something. He is another leader, after all. He might be the only one who could talk to the general.
Not sure, but don't see him doing that. But
it's probably a long shot, I know. But our other option would be what?
Well,
we can't fight an entire army.
Obviously, no. But you can either sneak in and try to help them escape. So very risky on doing that, or there is the option of leaving.
I think we should. I think retreat should be our last resort.
Oh, yeah, that too.
So we need to.
Don't sound so hesitant.
Well, it seems likely to me that they're taking them to the doctor to have a look at them, and then they'll probably take them somewhere else. Maybe we could try to find a point that the guards around them are at their weakest, and try to hatch an escape plan then.
So what you're saying is we should try to hatch an escape plan at the last minute?
Well, I don't know what to do exactly.
Well, if they're being taken to Dr. Watson, I have been in that place for a bit, so maybe would I be able to devise a plan to get out of there stealthily?
I will point out, and you guys on the street notice this too, you're being led in the opposite direction of Watson's clinic.
Oh. So we noticed this.
Caleb would know that.
Yeah. So, like that's why I said
Yeah, I wouldn't
both
know
you
that.
and you guys on the street noticed that. Like those who know where Watson's clinic is, you're being led in the exact opposite direction of it.
Well,
Are we
yes.
going towards the airship?
Well, the airship just covers the whole city, so anywhere could be associated with the airship. So just from walking in like a direction, you can't really tell exactly where they're taking you.
Are we going towards the guest quarters?
Well, again, like you're basically heading in a general direction further into the city. They could theoretically be taking you anywhere.
Yeah, so,
Yeah, but I mean, like, direction-wise, considering the rest of us have been to, or most of us have been to the
Well,
guest.
the guest house is in that direction, but there's also a shit ton of other landmarks in that general vicinity as well.
Basically,
Yeah, that
they're
was
not
mostly to
going
figure out
where-
which direction of it.
Yeah, so you are going in that direction, but they could easily not be taking you there.
Yeah, they're just not going. They're going the opposite direction, or pretty much a different direction of what.
Well, is Zephyr going to tell Caleb this?
Well,
Yeah,
yes,
that's all I
yeah.
wanted to know.
Yeah,
Okay, yeah, so
Zephyr just seeing this, be like, well, it seems either the little one lied or was mistaken, or it's not, or they were lied to, but it seems as though they're not going towards the doctor.
Should we maybe try to track them and see where they're going?
Yes, I guess it would be good to see where they end up so that we could possibly.
Alright, do we need to roll new stealth checks?
yeah, if you're gonna follow the guards, make stealth checks.
Come on, that one.
Uh,
Come on,
There's
that's
something I'm
20.
debate-
Our lives may depend on it.
if I start rolling, would it be too late to use inspiration?
I mean,
No, no,
when you roll,
you can use inspiration whenever, but
Yeah.
you can only get it like once per, more or less once per
Basically,
session.
if I roll and it's shit, can I say, can I use inspiration for?
Yeah,
Yes, but
that's
that would
inspiration.
consume your inspiration. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it's inspirations. It's not like, oh, I just really want to hit inspiration, but that's.
Yeah.
Sorry,
that-
my internet's being crap.
If you
Yeah, I know.
If
Yeah,
you
it's all
don't like your rolling, but yeah.
Okay, it's not going to be necessary. That is 18 plus 7, so that's 26.
Okay, Zephyr.
You know what? I guess I'll use my inspiration because
What did you roll?
I rolled a 2.
Man, you're rolling ass tonight.
Which would be an 8 modifier. But so I will use my inspiration.
So you got plus 6 to stealth?
Yeah, but also because I don't have expertise.
I got a dot with a circle around it on
Yeah, that's
stealth. I don't know what
expertise.
Expertise.
Means you have not only you have proficiency but expertise, which is double proficiency. But now the new roll would be, I'm trying to do the math, 19.
Okay. So the two of you follow, keeping to the roofs as the patrol leads them towards the market and starts to head deeper into the city. At one point, as you guys are like jumping along the roofs, you guys on the street notice the general is like getting just kind of like feedback and like suggestions from the soldiers behind him, and his eyes are just roving the alleyways and rooftops paranoidly. Caleb, at one point, you see the general's gaze is about to flick your way as Zephyr is jumping to the next rooftop. So as Zephyr lands, you immediately pull him behind the shadow of the rooftop, just as the general's gaze passes over, and he kind of stops and stares at that roof for a moment before
This
kind of
feels like tracking someone in.
and he kind of stares at the roof for a moment before shaking his head and keeping moving. But Gil, you notice.
You know what I'm talking about? How they'll like stop and randomly turn around.
Yeah, and Gil, knowing your father the best, you see his hand start to kind of hover over his waist where he keeps his custom pistol. And you guys start to head deeper into the city. Caleb and Zephyr following the whole way. And you guys start to make your way towards the palace.
Can Caleb and Zephyr realize where they're going?
Yeah, you guys see them being escorted up the street, and not only are there Geogrin elvish soldiers wielding rifles, but you can see them intermingled with giants wielding massive tree-like clubs, guarding the walls that separate the palace from the rest of the city.
Oh dear. That I don't think I'm gonna be able to follow them in there.
Yes, it would be rather difficult.
I think we should take the chance on maybe us. I don't think we can get in there, and I don't think we're gonna be able to sneak them out of there. I think we should take the unlikely chance of our father helps. If not, we're gonna be having some problems.
Maybe. I mean, we can also wait for them. I believe they can handle it themselves.
So just
but that's
here.
not as fun.
Just sit here and do nothing.
Well,
And-
obviously no, but I mean, we could obviously try to influence the background, or influence as much as we can, as you mentioned, talk to father, but you also, as you said, us sneaking in there and breaking them out stealthily is a long shot, so...
Gus, it depends on how much father values getting information.
Yes. Well, I can help with that, yes.
So maybe we should try to sneak our way to the guest house. Well, do we need to roll stealth, or do we just need to can we just say we head there over the top? Trying to
Yeah,
avoid...
that's more up to you guys. You do know already that there's soldiers just kind of everywhere, but you can see that they're not just accosting people on the street. It's mostly people that they just think might be up to something or know something. So you can stealth it if you want, but basically from your best judgment,
But they
it
have
doesn't.
Zephyr's description.
Yeah, so it's like they have my description, so they might be
Yeah,
looking for me.
no, I like it. Like that, and I was going to finish that off with, but of course, walking the streets does pose the risk of the guards accosting you.
But if they move by the rooftops, because I doubt the guards are always looking up.
Yeah, well, yeah. So that, basically, you can roll stealth if you want and stick to the roofs, or you can just go on foot if you don't want to chance
so
it.
if we're gonna stay on the roofs, you have to roll stealth.
Well, either
Yeah.
way, I think we have to roll stealth, right? It's just
Well,
either roof or
If you're going on the streets, you're basically banking on them not accosting civilians. If you want to go on the roofs, then definitely stealth. They're not. Even if you weren't being suspicious, they would give you a hard time for being on the roof.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not saying roof is. I'm just saying you technically have to roll stealth just for them not to see.
Yeah, we'd
us
have
and
to
move
sneak
forward.
around the guards because they have Zephyr's description at least.
Well, no, yeah, I'm basically all I'm trying to say is stealth is an option. It's just up to you guys if you want to do it.
Is it really an option though?
I mean, it is. I mean, we can just fight them.
I can't force you to do
it's
it.
It's an option.
It's
But
highly recommended, but
Yeah.
still an option.
Yeah.
It's
So,
still an option.
it is a choice. It's a very
Yeah.
probably the better choice.
You can drink a bunch of booze and then spit into a lighter. It's just not a good
well-
idea.
Mhm.
I mean, how far are they from the house where their father's staying?
The palace to the guest house is not that long of a trip. By your rough guesstimate, it would probably take you somewhere in the realm of maybe about an hour and a half to get there, get your father, and if you convince him to follow his very slow walking back to the palace.
Yeah. But I think if they were with the king, then the guards wouldn't.
Yeah, but it's just he's old and small, so it's going to take him a while to walk there.
Isn't
If
there
it- that's-
place on a higher story?
All royalty.
also Because the other thing we don't know is if the guard at the front of that house is also looking for.
Well,
Zephyr.
I think they're different guards. I think they're orcs.
But they
right?
might have told them something.
That's true.
It's a long shot there, yeah. I mean, but
It's up to you guys.
I
What do you
don't
want to do?
I don't see them trying to use them as oh hey, look for this guy. I think they're gonna try to deal with this themselves.
Okay.
Yeah, politics.
Well, I guess that's the chance Caleb and Zephyr will take. So try to stealth their way to the house place thing.
All right, both of you roll stealth.
Well,
And just for flavor, this won't really affect the rolls all that much. Do you want to take the roofs or like stick to the alleyways and stuff?
Care either way.
All right, I'll say the roof since you're already up there.
If
If they're on the upper level, maybe they could jump to the balcony and.
Yeah, unfortunately, unless you want to chance climbing the trees, the guest house is kind of sequestered away from the rest of the city.
Okay.
But you could try to get from the roofs to the trees and then to the second floor. But
yeah, and make like a bunch of roll like.
That will be.
Like-
I got a 14.
Okay,
I got 19 plus 7.
nice. Fucking good stealth rolls on Caleb tonight. All right, so
He's
the two of you
sneaky
start.
boy.
Yeah, the two of you sticking to the roofs start making your way towards the guest house. We'll pick up back with you guys in a second because it's going to take you some time to get there. You guys on the street being pulled by the guards, Garrow kind of being pushed along at bayonet point, the general at the head just paranoid and looking around in like a frenzy that seems to get increasingly agitated the closer you guys get, and you approach the gates to the palace, where you remember meeting up with Zephyr and Caleb's mother as you guys headed to the ball. The walls that sort of artificially dam the river cutting through the Summersea forest, and a bridge that leads to the palace that is usually always up. But as the general approaches, he just gives the giant at the gate a nod, and the giant turns and gives a wave to a giant on the opposite end who lowers the drawbridge, and they start pulling you guys across it. The rest of you guys can see the general just has his hand on like under his coat but on something on his belt, and you can see from under his coat his hand just kind of twitching, and you guys start getting
So I would like to say, you're a little jumpy with that pistol there, aren't you?
the general kind of shakes his head but doesn't turn or acknowledge you. You guys are led up the path that you had taken to get to the summer ball the previous night. The kind of mid to late afternoon sun baking the city in red and pink hues as you guys are led up to the palace doors. The giant at the gate, recognizing the general, nods and pushes the door open. And the general turns and gives a small salute of the hand, and the guards actually separate from all of you, although you remain in your manacles, with the exception of Stuttering Guard, who the general gestures to follow, and the guy just keeps his rifle on all of you at all times. And the general takes a deep breath before addressing the soldiers. I'm more than capable of taking care of myself, especially with them in chains. The rest of you, continue searching the city as I requested. I'll be sending some reinforcements your way shortly. The soldiers nod to each other and start to retreat back down the road to search the city for your comrades, leaving you guys alone at the palace gates with the giant at the door, the general, and the Stuttering Guard, who kind of aggressively steps to the side and gestures as the general steps aside and with a small smile gestures for you all to enter the palace ahead of him.
Gil will shrug and walk.
The ball feels like it happened years ago.
I know.
Kara?
Just, this is a fancy place for a doctor.
The general kind of gives a small nod of the head. The doctor always did enjoy his accoutrement.
What?
He is committing to this lie.
He likes his fancy things.
Mm-hmm. You guys are all...
I didn't hear what you said the first bit.
Oh, the doctor always enjoyed his accoutrement.
Oh, okay. I was like, the what?
You guys are herded into the palace hall, and the giant shuts the door as the general and stuttering guard enter behind you. You hear the hammer of a pistol being pulled back, and as the dim lights of the candelabras light the velvet halls of the palace, you all turn and see General Gyoger pulling free what appears to be a pistol, but you notice it's wrapped in very scaly red leather, and the pistol itself is painted to match. And the hammer and like mechanics of it are painted a very illustrious gold. As the general pulls the hammer back on the pistol and levels it at Raccoon, and gestures for all of you to keep moving, as the stuttering guard does the same with his rifle.
Like, are they both pointing it at me, or?
Well, the guard's just more like keeping it trained, like kind of moving it between everyone, but they're both just gesturing for the group to move forward.
Told you guys he was jumpy with that pistol.
I don't think now is the time to be sassy, Gil.
No, just stating the obvious.
No.
I'm pretty sure we
Sassy.
can all understand.
I was like, that's still being sassy, but you know.
Either he's going to kill us, or he's not.
Well, if he's going to kill us, then he's going to kill us. If he's not, then he's going to not. But for now, we have no other choice.
Exactly, so I can say whatever I want.
that logic is so flawed.
I would like to remind you that there's a lot I can do to you that isn't killing you.
I make like kind of a look at Gil.
It's like.
I'm well aware. But we don't have all day. Let's get going, shall we?
The general kind of
And he'll start walking.
the general kind of gives an impatient sniff and keeps you guys moving. As you all go through the illustrious velvet halls of the palace, you enter into the ballroom, still bathed in that ominous emerald glow that seems far more oppressive now than it did exotic the night before. And as you all enter, you see the Father Khan seated at the throne, as he always is, his feet bathing in the clay of the river that flows freely through the palace. And surrounding him, you see Dr. Watson, Lucifer, the figure in the brown coat, as well as several other figures that you don't immediately recognize, although among them you do see Governor Barbarous and Queen Wyborn, along with several figures that you don't recognize. And kind of pacing quote unquote, you see Tropu Bikok with his mechanical wheelchair just kind of circling the front of the throne impatiently. And you guys all kind of balk as you enter a room surrounded by your enemies.
Well.
So this was planned. They want us as their scapegoat.
Mm-hmm.
More or less.
The general.
My eyes don't leave Lucifer's face.
Lucifer kind of shifts his feet guiltily, but kind of tries to avoid looking directly at you.
I keep staring at him.
The general and the soldier continue to usher you guys forward until you're in the center of the ballroom, a good distance away from the Scar Concord. And Dr. Watson, who, since you all know, I will address him as his proper name, Dr. Kaloum, steps forward, kind of adjusting his navy blue coat, and raises an eyebrow to General Gyoger. You know what we discussed? And the general gives a sigh. Of course. And you guys hear a shot fired. And as you turn, you see the stuttering guard fall to the ground.
Once again.
But why would they do that? What did they do?
No,
Easy
no.
ways.
Yeah.
You saw too much.
They could have bribed him.
No.
Easier dead.
The general kind of looks down at the fallen soldier and kind of gives a sigh. He was always a bit of a glory seeker, but a good soldier. And stepping out from...
keep your comments to yourself, Father. You always enjoyed taking the easy.
Lucian shoots a look at Gil. Shut up!
Gil, really is not the time.
Trial. Look at these guys.
No, shut up, Gil.
We don't necessarily mean no, if that's what they mean, but we still need... We need to keep calm. We need to not continue to try and get on their bad side.
But we are.
But
Otherwise,
you
don't need to be even worse on their bad sides, Gil.
Kara's just like, what have you all gotten me into?
What is going on?
Sorry about this, Kara. We didn't know anything was going to happen.
Ooh, it's okay.
I shift back to Lucifer.
It's really not. Not for any of us.
Stepping out from behind the throne, you see Dr. Knight twirling her emerald raven skull tipped cane as she glances at the fallen soldier and glances back up to the general. And you can't see her face beneath the mask, but you imagine from her tone that she's smirking as she says, "Don't worry, General, I'll keep my end of the bargain. You'll get him back and then some."
I have a question. Is Brogdor there too?
Yes, you see Brogdor just pitter-pattering behind Tropu, who's still kind of pacing the ballroom behind you, and you can just hear the spider-like legs of his mechanical seat pulling the gears and wheels along.
I'm out of curiosity. I could be forgetting something. Do they know it's Dr. Knight?
No, we think it's Dr. Marula.
Yeah, I'm more saying it for like again, similar to how I'm addressing Kaloum as Dr. Kaloum. Like, it's just for the benefit of the players. And Barbarous kind of smiles at Raccoon and turns to you, Gil, and kind of gestures to you, kind of doing like finger guns. You know, the little creature makes a fair point. I was actually advocating we kill you, but these guys are trying to talk me out of it. Don't make them change their mind.
We'll just see what happens.
Gil,
keep your mouth shut and let other people talk. I don't want to hear you right now.
I think all of us need to be quiet and listen, please.
I agree.
Kaloum kind of gives a smirk, and Raccoon, all traces of the friendly family doctor who's treated you and Lorcan for years, is gone, replaced with sheer, unrestrained, sociopathic bloodlust as he looks over all of you with a slowly growing smile as he says, "That's a bit more like it." And he turns to you, Raccoon, and kind of gives a completely cold, heartless smile. "My condolences for the fate of your father. I was hoping it would happen tomorrow where we had planned it, but oh well, we'll adjust."
I did try to tell you, did I not?
He gives a smile and reaches into his coat and pulls a syringe full of a bubbling black liquid and gives a smile. "Lorcan would only succumb under two circumstances: when the Scar Concord willed it, or when the Ichor Beast must defend itself. Seems you all beat me to that punch."
Raccoon's gonna glare at Lucian.
Lucian makes no move but to look at her brother.
Lucifer is still kind of like, you can almost see him kind of like hopping from one foot to the other as he desperately tries to look anywhere that's not you. And the general speaks up behind all of you. "There's another thing." And Kaloum nods. "We're missing two. Lucifer." And the elf immediately kind of stands to attention, and you can see his prosthetic eye woving to and fro. "Search the city. Find them." And Lucifer kind of nervously steeples his fingers. I can do stealthy or I can do quick. I can't do both." And Kaloum does like kind of barely restrained sucking in of the teeth and says, "At this point, stealth has flown out the window. Search the city, burn it to the ground if you have to, but find them. And Lucifer immediately nods and vanishes.
Raccoon's gonna look horrified.
Lucian doesn't look surprised. A little haunted.
As Lucifer vanishes and presumably begins to run invisibly out of the room, Tropu and Brogdu roll to take his place standing next to Dr. Kaloum, who looks over all of you, and you can see him tapping his well-kept shined boots impatiently, and his eyes just keep flicking between all of you as he says, I do have to give you all a bit of restrained credit. I've never seen such a well-oiled machine be thrown apart so easily.
Everything has
Talking about
rust.
our party?
Given his irritation, those of you there can kind of judge. It seems like he's more demonstrating his irritation that you guys' activities disrupted everything they were doing.
Hey, we actually were successful at disrupting them.
Who was saying it?
Dr. Kaloum.
Dr. Watson.
Well,
No.
it's your fault
Dr.
for
Knight.
doing all of this in the first place, isn't it?
He gives a bit of a shrug. I wasn't lying when I told you back at the ball. I have grand dreams. We all do. And this is how we plan to accomplish it. And none of us appreciate you all getting in our way. And you can see his hands start to go towards his coat. And as you see his hands moving, you see he's actually wearing more rings than ever, and all of them are elaborately carved and bejeweled. And you can see not one, not two, but 3 pistols along his belt. But as his hand goes for it, Dr. Knight, who you all know as Dr. Marula, smacks his hand with her cane and kind of jabs him in the leg. You're not breaking my test subjects, Dr. Kaloum. And the man raises his hand in a very lazy, sarcastic surrender and says, wasn't planning to. Our lady would be displeased if I were to do so.
Yes. About your lady. Do we have the pleasure of meeting her?
He gives a bit of a smile. I'm not going to make it that easy for you. She is here, if that's what you're asking, but she trusts her lieutenants, and he gestures to himself, Dr. Knight, and the person in the brown coat, and Tropu, to act in her stead.
Lucian doesn't
So-
comment.
Next to Barbarous, your gaze turns to the other figures. Next to Barbarous, you see, of course, the Father Khan at his throne and Queen Wyborn just smirking as she beholds what's happening. Looking at the 2 figures you don't immediately recognize, you see a dark elf, very small and pale and unassuming, currently just watching the party with a very almost snide and sarcastic pleasure at your current situation. And you notice this dark elf is just almost glued to the side of Queen Wyborn, who has a hand on her head and is just kind of drumming her fingers along the dark elf's scalp as she watches the interaction. Dr. Kaloum runs a hand through his hair, and you can see he's wearing very strange looking gloves, not still fingerless like most of his gloves to account for his rings, but you see the gloves are made of a disturbingly skin-like texture. It almost looks like leather, but it's far too pale and far too loose to be leather. And he runs his gloved and beringed hand through his hair as he looks at all of you. Oh, boy. Well, this throws a bit of a wrench into everything. Tropu, and the Tengu kind of sits up in his chair. Can you have the transport unit ready by tonight? And the Tengu kind of raises an eyebrow. Bit of a tall order, but the baseline is already set up. Why? And Kaloum kind of gives a sniff and a very impatient-looking nod. we move tonight. We can't afford to wait any longer. And he gestures to all of you. They just loosed one of our finest creations on the city in broad daylight in front of a bunch of witnesses. And
You're welcome.
Queen Wyborn kind of still smirking, seeming completely fine with the way events are progressing. And do we still stick to the original layout of the plan? Dr. Kaloum gives a nod. Of course. We'll just have to be quick about it. And Tropu kind of throws up his hands and just, oh, of course, let me throw my entire airship schedule off because you're impatient. And you see Kaloum turns to him and his hand immediately goes for his pistol. And Tropu just gives a smirk, and the spider-like mechanical legs of his chair immediately raise and almost like a spider's legs going into defensive position. Dr. Knight steps between the two of them, holding up her hands and just like, fellas, we can do this. We just need to be fast. And she turns to Tropu. And we need to make sure it gets done. Take some shortcuts if you have to. And Dr. Kaloum just gives a snort. Absolutely not. We're going to end up dropping them over the ocean if we take shortcuts with something this delicate. And Dr. Knight kind of gives a nod. I suppose that's fair enough. And she turns to all of you, but Barbarous steps forward. And I'd suggest taking everything but the clothes on their backs. And they all kind of glance to him with raised eyebrows, and he kind of gives an impatient sniff. I showed them the courtesy of not stripping them last time, and they immediately turned that on my unassuming soldiers. Showing them mercy is how they get away and sabotage us.
What are you
Oh, we
talking
showed y'all
about?
mercy.
Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about, sir.
Seriously, what are
I
you
hope you're
talking
staying
about?
hydrated.
Barbarous just ignores all of you. And Dr. Kaloum kind of gives a bit of a shrug. I suppose that's fair enough. We'll conduct the search whenever Lucifer finds the other two. And while we're at it, bring the Tebadrins, all of them. And you see everyone turns to look at him in surprise. And Queen Wyborn, kind of her smile just grows. Interesting strategy. What's your end game? And Kaloum gives a bit of a smile. With the unfortunate death of Lorcan Telbrant, we're currently very short on collateral, and he kind of nudges the needle of his syringe against his fingers. I think we need to get more of it.
You're going to turn them into what Lorcan is, aren't you?
Or they already are.
Kaloum gives a smile and raises his hands. Not yet, but it'll be something to consider. And his gaze turns to you, Gil. Should any of you get any bright ideas about coming back for us when all's said and done?
I don't think you would need to worry about that.
Oh,
I should hope not.
Gil is glaring daggers at him, thinking about Summer.
Kaloum just gives a smile and twirls the syringe between his fingers before returning it to his coat. And the figure in the brown coat steps forward, and as they look at all of you, you can finally see what they look like beneath the coat and hat. You see this massive, hulking, incredibly furry bugbear, seemingly female at a glance, and this very vicious, salty-looking bugbear looks over all of you, and immediately their gaze snaps to Kaloum. If we're taking this stuff, I'm keeping it. And Kaloum just gives a snort. I'm not some scavenger. Feel free. Add it to your ever-growing treasure hoard. And Queen Wyborn gives a smirk in the background. Might want to be careful, Captain. Bit more gold to that pile, and you'll end up going dragon on us. And this captain just kind of gives a bit of a shrug and pulls a gold coin from their pocket and starts to walk it along their fingers. Money's money. Kaloum just gives a shrug. Right. For now, we wait. And he immediately steps back to take a seat on the opposite arm of the throne from Queen Wyborn and the Dark Elf. And the Scar Concord sits and waits. Zephyr and Caleb. making your way along, you do see an ever-increasing amount of patrols. But none seem to notice you. Whether that's just due to their own distraction or you being very good at hiding, it's hard to tell. And you're able to reach the guest house without incident. What would you like to do?
Can we see if the guards at the front have changed? If it's still the same old guards, or if it's new guards?
Yeah. From here, you can see the same guard that's been working it since you got here.
All right, so Caleb's gonna look to Zephyr and be like, "So, should we try to sneak in, or should we just, do our usual thing with that guard?
To our usual thing.
Just saying who they're looking for."
Yes. If I had to assume, I don't think the orcs are looking for us in particular.
Okay.
So it's possible for us to possibly just walk in. So they might ask us what we're doing, so you have to get that one straight.
Just coming to talk to our father, is that so wrong?
Possibly, but let's find out.
So I guess so Caleb and Zephyr are in agreement to approach.
Seems like it. The two of you approach, and the guard gives just kind of a nod of recognition, but seeming more just out of like necessity of habit and routine, pulls up his little tree bark clipboard. Name, please.
The important part of our names is Tabedra. We're coming to see the king.
The guard kind of gives a nod, seeming to have already recognized you, but not just going through the motions for the sake of his job, and nods and opens the door to allow you all entry. Are you just gonna head straight upstairs to the Tabedran royal room?
Most likely.
Yeah, that was kind of the plan. Gotta tell our father what's going on.
Okay. The two of you head upstairs, and you already know where your rooms are. Caleb, already having the key to access it, you open the door, and as you step in, you see your family currently just at their beds with suitcases packed and some still in the process of being packed. You can see Summer has just her bandolier of chemicals strapped over her chest, and Loop is sorting spell books and various magical focuses into a suitcase very delicately to ensure they don't get meshed around or broken. But they all look up as the two of you enter, and the king kind of gives a visible sigh and a smile before hopping off of his bed and hobbling downstairs, almost a solid 2 minutes before he finally steps up to all of you and smiles as he gives a little bow of the head. How nice it is to see my two sons again. What do you want?
Well, there's been a complication with that task you gave Zephyr and his friends. The general, what's his name?
Gyoger.
The General Gyoger has captured them.
You see your father immediately take like a hissing inward breath, and you can see his needle-like teeth that he looks unsettled and nervous.
And Caleb knows that the general is part of the Scar Concord, right?
Yeah, it was mentioned during your discussion that Lucian mentioned that he's in on it.
So Caleb's gonna be like, and knowing his affiliation with the so-called Scar Concord, I have a feeling that they may try to do something tonight.
Your father takes a visible step back and looks between the two of you, and finally his eyes fall to you, Zephyr. The general's in on this?
It seems so, yes. There's one of our party members has obtained a list, or has been told a few names of who's involved.
And you didn't think to tell me this?
Well, we
We're going to.
at the time,
yeah,
it
Caleb's gonna be like, we were going
complicated.
to, but we were actually in the middle of planning to get out of the city early because we believed they were going to make a move again.
He bites his lip and kind of looks around kind of feverishly and shakes his head. If they've captured your friends, then they can't be far behind. Come on, we're leaving, now.
Of course. Did they
Uh,
bring guards? Did they bring any of their?
yeah, they brought
soldiers?
a general you would know as Q, who lives in the city not far from the capital.
Yeah, I know.
Should we? So he's like a Tabajan?
Yeah, basically they have a small, they have a small, like, squadron looking after them.
Okay, let's go back. Do you think that maybe we should bring, what's his name?
Q, and yes, of course, they'll be right behind us, but we need to go now. If the generals found them, then they're already dead and they're looking for you.
Okay then.
Mhm.
Caleb's like young, so he's just like, okay, just in yelling.
Your father smiles and pats you on the shoulder. Good boy. And he turns to you, Zephyr. Are you coming with us?
I think.
None of you gonna insight him?
No.
No.
It's my
Caleb's like
father.
not in insight mode right
I
now.
was like, it's our father.
Yeah, it's
so,
father. He trusts him.
well,
I don't
trust
feel like
is
any of
vague.
us are in insight mode right now.
Like, father or trusting is vague on, but we know. Either way, that's I'm not sure if I might stay behind.
You notice your whole family comes to a stop, and your father just stares at you incredulously. You've never been one to stay when there's a fight. You always run.
True, but I also like to see an opportunity and try my best to go for it.
He kind of gives a bit of a smirk, and he kind of nervously fidgets with his cane and shakes his head. Zephyr, there's nothing we can do. If the general's involved, this goes even deeper than I thought it did. They're too powerful. We need to grab everything. We need to leave the continent if we have to. And he kind of looks around, kind of feverishly, kind of tapping his cane irritably. We can't stay here. Nowhere safe.
And I'm not.
Why would we need to? Caleb's gonna be like, why would we need to retreat from the continent? They wouldn't. Surely they wouldn't dare make a move against our kingdom.
He gives a smile and shakes his head. You don't know their plans. They have the biggest armies in the land at their back. Whenever they start their tidal wave, there's going to be no stopping it. And you guys hear a voice behind you from the doorway. Yes, I suppose that is true.
Fuck you.
Yeah.
Caleb like jumps and draws
damn
his
it.
short sword.
I know.
Yeah, like,
Who's there?
You see...
Yes.
Oh,
Uh,
Zephyr?
Yep, that boy.
You see Lucifer leaning against the doorway in his full accoutrement of armor, although the helmet is slung under his arm, and he's leaning against a scythe. And up close, you can see that it's almost made of pure shadow and darkness. Doesn't even seem to be any solid form to it that he's gripping.
shit's gonna happen.
The whole room freezes, as the Tibetans are already aware of his association with the Concord, and Lucifer tilts his head with an innocent-looking smile. Are you trying to run away? And Zephyr and Caleb, your father, freezes. For the first time in his life, there's no way out.
All right.
And
Zephyr would like to do something.
what are you going to do?
I'm going to walk up to him.
Lucifer gives a smile as you approach. Hello, Zephyr.
Hello. Well, I can't speak.
That was a soft hello.
I mean, he's not. He knows this boy. He's not afraid of him. Even though he probably can wreck his
Boy?
Boy.
He's probably wreck
What?
He probably can wreck me easily, but you know, he knows him, so he,
Matthew wouldn't be
Probably.
that cruel.
I mean,
Probably.
it could.
I think it's more than a probably
He
at this
probably
point.
has them
It does.
scaled
This,
or
I
some
mean, this
shit.
boy could probably one-shot me.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
He's the same age as Lucian.
I know,
Mhm.
I know the elves and all their older age, but
Like, Matthew's I know Matthew. He's not that cool to give us a fight. Couldn't.
well, this
Cut out.
he probably scaled it to where it's all of us versus him, so he is probably pretty tough. Either way, he's not looking for a fight, so he's just Zephyr will approach him, and yeah, obviously the whole encounter, and then and he mentioned that we're running, so he'd be like, well, I can't speak for my family, but I still have business here, so I do plan to stay.
That is true. You do have a lot of business here. So does he. And you see his eye flicks towards Caleb.
Caleb just still has his sword out because he kind of reacted, but.
Mhm.
And you know, this guy has his weapon bared, so Caleb's gonna at least match the show.
That's so.
And Caleb's just like, "What do you want?"
Lucifer smiles and twirls his scythe around so that he's like almost kind of like with his hands slung over it. It's almost looking like a scarecrow as he smiles innocently at the Tebadran nobility. I just need you all to follow me back to the palace.
Oh, but wait, does he do that? Does he know about that? That's what I'm
Know about what?
That he wants all the Tebadrans.
Seems like it.
Like,
They might. I mean, it's probably not outside the realm of possibility. They have some way of communicating over long distance.
Especially given that one of their guys specializes in technology more advanced than everything else here.
I think I don't have a lot of things I could. Just don't get a lot.
At least not this early.
Well,
We don't get a lot with, like, being face to face with them.
well, you still get a lot of variety. I mean, later on, I can get like magic items where I think I understand like the gist of any magic item. But either way, he will. I guess he will turn to his family and give off a sigh. Just, well, you have me. I feel like that should be enough.
I'm afraid it isn't. I've been given very specific orders. If it makes you feel better, we're not planning to kill anyone.
Caleb's just gonna be like, you
Well,
can't
then-
just come in and I'm pretty certain that normally people can't just come in and kidnap the king of an entire country. Kingdom.
Oh, yes, I suppose this is usually the part where you say you and what army, right?
Oh my god.
Come on, say it for me.
I wasn't going to go that far, but it's just not something you usually do. Especially
Lucifer
when you're
kinda-
trying to be quiet.
Lucifer kind of pouts and kind of gives a shrug. Killjoy. Besides, I'm not kidnapping you because you're going to come with me willingly.
What if we choose not to come with you?
He gives you just kind of a neutral look, and his gaze turns to your father. Well, are you going to fight me?
Zephyr will walk past him.
Zephyr, as you step into the hall, you see down the hall a firing line of Geogran soldiers. Just at the ready.
Should I also have a death wish?
They don't seem aggressive, like for.
Oh, you're cutting out there a little bit.
Oh, sorry.
I get that they don't seem aggressive, but
Yeah, they seem like they're waiting for orders. Is what I was saying.
yeah.
And Lucifer kind of gives you a smile. Thank you. Before turning his gaze back to the Tebadrans. Loop, Summer and even the queen all seem lost and look to the king, who's, you can see he's not giving off visible fear, but his knuckles are white on the handle of the cane, and Lucifer smiles and twirls his scythe as he walks past you, Caleb, and kind of pats you on the shoulder as he passes before crouching down to be eye level with the king of the bandits.
All right.
Well, are you going to fight me?
Hearing this, I'm gonna walk past all the armed soldiers.
The soldiers level their rifles, and one of them kind of holds up a hand.
I always
Hold
like
for-
to think Zephyr's brain
Pause,
is
pause,
just
pause. Hey.
snapped.
I was just said streams down.
Oh, shit.
Wonder how long.
Oh, no, like, it just happened because people...
Yeah,
Okay.
you just said.
But
Do we need to like pause to reset that?
Yeah, I'll
Yeah.
process to...
Well, I probably it's back. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, it's back.
Yeah, we can
Back
hear
up.
you.
I don't know how long it's been out, so
I think it's starting up again.
it is out. I see.
Yeah. And no, like people in chat who are watching just said it went down. So
Oh, I didn't even see that. Oh.
yeah, we're good. So we're still recording, right?
Oh, it's been recording. It's
Okay,
I
just making
gotta
sure.
pause the stream. It's lagging me out.
So Zephyr, as you approach, the elven soldiers level their rifles, and one of them kind of shakes his head. Hold for just a minute. We'll be right with you.
I'll walk past them.
There's a line. They're like, you're gonna have to fight your way through if you want to get past them. There's like a lot of them, and they're trying to
And
not
we're
let
back.
you past.
I'll fight them. I'm just,
Push
Yes.
past.
You don't have you don't have any ability to like pass them.
you may be surprised. Who knows? Depending on how they handle the situation.
So, what are you gonna do?
I'm going to just attempt, at least, to keep walking.
Two of them kind of level their rifles and bayonets, and the one who had spoken earlier says, "We're not going to ask again."
Well, it does seem like you're wanting my family alive, so I'm simply walking my own.
The soldier kind of gives a sneer. You will walk with an escort, or we'll drag you.
Well, then have someone follow me. I don't. It does that. Does that stop you?
He kind of scowls a bit and glances to a few of the soldiers and nods, and four of them break off and surround you in sort of a cube. And you're just gonna keep going.
Yeah.
All right, with your escort, quote unquote, you start walking away. Caleb, with your family back in the royal room, your father is paralyzed as Lucifer just smiles innocently at him. Come on, I'm right here. You have me outnumbered. There's like 5 of you. Well, I guess 4 now. And you see his eye kind of swivel around to look where Zephyr had gone. So what are you going to do?
Because Caleb has this other ability, Caleb starts to pull one of the. How long ago was it that he had
The poison.
that he had Summer poison the needles?
By this point, that would have been about.
Okay, right.
Yeah, it was like early. It was kind of early-ish in the morning, so it's been about like somewhere in the vicinity of like 5 or 6 hours.
Oh.
So they're still poisoned, basically.
Yeah. They'll still be poisoned. And I'm kind of guesstimating since we usually don't give exact times, but it's been a while.
Definitely.
Caleb-
definitely more than
Caleb
5 to 6.
starts lifting one of the needles that had been poisoned, as if he's getting ready to try and use it.
As Lucifer's eye was already looking that way towards Zephyr. You can't see this, Caleb, but the prosthetic eye snaps to you, and Lucifer turns around with a kind of eerie smile. Oh, you're much braver than your father. And he stands up to his full height and twirls his scythe. Come on.
Caleb's just holding it for now. Like he's basically thinking of trying to do something, but he's an assassin. He's not supposed to do it while they're looking.
Yeah. Lucifer just stares at you. A moment goes by. And finally, he turns back to your father, but you see his eye as he turns does not leave you as he turns back to look at your father. Well, you haven't changed a bit since Barbarous was finished with you. And you see the king kind of scowl, his knuckles still white on the handle of the cane. Lucifer sighs and just kind of nudges the king with the blunt end of the scythe. All right, you bunch of killjoys, come on. And your family turns to look at their leader, who sighs. We're going with them.
Caleb's like, what?
The king looks to you, Caleb, and kind of gives a very just old and frail looking ghost of a smile. It's like your brother said, we need to keep an eye out for other opportunities. And Lucifer
We don't know what they are going to do to us.
And your father just stares at you and gestures to Lucifer, who just smiles. So, what is your game plan here exactly? Yes, we have him outnumbered, but and you watch as Lucifer's hand begins to almost glow, but it's not quite glowing, almost more like it's sucking the light around it away as it darkens as he runs his fingers under the king's chin. What they can do to us is, it's not something we can fight, not right now.
Caleb just like looks to the others.
Summer just watches, like seeming just confused, like she doesn't know what to think of her father surrendering. Your brother just watches with a stone expression before holding up his hands in surrender. And the queen scowls at Lucifer, a hand on one of her rapiers, but not making any moves. And as Lucifer kind of glances to her, you can see she kind of visibly flinches. And Lucifer turns his gaze back down to the king, who looks up at him and kind of glances between him and Caleb and says, how badly do you want me and the rest of my family? Lucifer kind of gives a shrug. Pretty badly. I have very specific orders. And the king kind of nervously drums on his cane before smiling and saying, it's come to my attention recently that your little experiment, and he gestures to you, Caleb, has been a lot more than what you expected. How about you take him and leave the rest of us alone?
Not surprised.
Caleb doesn't say anything.
Lucifer kind of raises an eyebrow and before scoffing, and actually slams in the king's back with the side end of the scythe, and your father just topples just full flat to the ground as the queen and Summer both run to help him, and Lucifer just looks down at him almost disgusted and plants the blunt end of the scythe on his back. Coward. And he kind of kicks the little body as he steps over him. Either come with me willingly or I'm dragging you there. And he glares to you, Caleb, seeming actually really aggravated now. You too, come on.
Who did you say you two are to?
To Caleb, and he seems really aggravated after what the king said.
Caleb just doesn't say the darn thing at first. It's like, oh, father, if it's going to be like that. And he rears up to throw the poison dart at Lucifer.
Lucifer just smiles and doesn't make any visible move to block it. Roll to attack.
Alright, he's
God
got
damn.
a +5
Rip.
to hit on this.
You're gonna die.
Yeah,
Well, actually,
I know my brother, and I do.
well, actually, he was told to bring Caleb in, so he's probably just gonna knock
I
him out
just
and
wish I
drag him
was
there.
there. I wanted to fight Lucifer for ages.
That's gonna be probably not enough. 14 in total.
So you're throwing the needle just for flavor?
Yeah.
As you throw the needle, there's almost just a blur of darkness as the needle is shattered like glass. And suddenly Lucifer is in front of you with his glowing black fingers pressed up against your throat as he smiles still innocently as can be down at you and just watches you. Want to try again?
Caleb's gonna, I guess Caleb, most likely feebly, will try to slash at him with his short sword.
All right, roll to attack.
He's playing with you.
19 plus 5.
Roll for damage.
He rolls a D.
1d6 plus 3.
Hang on, I'm looking at something.
Yeah, it's 1d6 plus 3 unless it's...
Sneak attack apply if the advantage is on.
If it's... there's certain conditions for it, but...
Yeah, you have to either have advantage or there has to be an ally next to them, neither of which apply right now.
An ally next to it, I don't think it's...
Well, like, does advantage have to be on the attack roll itself?
Yes.
Okay, so it's too late for me to apply inspiration to give myself advantage to get 2 extra Ds.
Oh, you already used your inspiration, I think, didn't you?
No,
No, I didn't.
But even
okay.
then, would inspiration count as advantage?
Yeah, it says...
Yeah, it gives you advantage on a roll. I'd say that counts.
That just makes you reroll, technically, so either way, yeah. Up to you.
Alright. Saying I can't apply it to the damage roll, so it's a D6 plus 3.
All right.
Oh, I gotta say that.
That's gonna be 6 damage.
All right. As you take your feeble swing, he doesn't even make an attempt to block. He just almost watches curiously as your blade cuts into the flesh, like carving through the admittedly thinner than you expected armor, seeming more for mobility and fashion than for practical armament purposes. And he doesn't even seem to feel it as he just looks down at it and kind of tilts his head before looking back to you. Can I have my turn now?
Is this where he instantly knocks him out?
We'll see.
What would you do if you said no?
Do it anyway.
I mean, what are you gonna say? Let's find out.
Caleb just doesn't seem to say anything at this point. Having exhausted both of his actions at this point.
Lucifer just gives a shrug and pulls the blade from his thigh and spins it in his hand before holding the grip back out to you. Now, you and your family come with me, please.
I mean, he's holding Caleb by the neck, isn't he?
Yeah, and holding your sword back out to you with the other.
So it's not like Caleb can exactly say anything with someone holding him by the neck.
No, he's not like choking you.
Yeah,
His hands are just glowing with this like shadowy energy, and he has just fingers up against your throat.
Yeah, so it's not like it's not like he's holding tightly.
Yeah, he's not like strangling you.
Yeah, it's just like holding a dog by the neck type deal. Like they can still bark. It's just.
So he wants Caleb to just take the sword back?
Well, he's offering it to you if you want it, but he's more focused on you doing as your family is doing and cooperating.
Caleb takes the sword and he just holds it at his side. Not putting it away, but not going for another attack.
Lucifer smiles, and you see his eyes swivel around to watch as your sister and mother help your father stand. And he kind of just grunts and shakes his head, and the two of them help move him along gently as Lucifer smiles and gently, with his hand still glowing with that shadowy energy, places an armored hand on your shoulder, Caleb, and starts to gently nudge for you to walk ahead of him out the door.
Caleb walks, but he's not exactly doing the most cooperative. He's making him have to some.
Lucifer just kind of smiles, but otherwise keeps it up. And with Zephyr up ahead, and Caleb being led directly by Lucifer, with the remaining Tebadrons not far behind, you all begin your sad, depressing little march with the Gyogran army keeping you at
Zephyr's gonna
point.
try to not go the direction they want him to go.
Not about that. I'm just like, good.
And as you all are taken away from the guest house and the Gyogrins start to lead all of you towards the palace, that's where we're going to end tonight's session.
I figured.
Oh, you motherfucker.
I thought he was gonna come whenever what's his name had shown up. Hey,
No.
Matthew, I have to know. What level is his sheet?
Well, I can't just tell you. I did actually have
You
stats.
damn well can.
I actually did have his stats pulled up though, so I wasn't just like BSing you. Because
If I had to guess, I'd say he's around level 10 to 15.
I don't know about 15. 10 I can kind of see. 15 might be going too far. I would say he would be possible to where all of us combined could take him, but at level 15, that I don't think even then we could fight him.
So thoughts?
No. Can we do an early game?
Early game. we have other stuff, you know.
Please.
Fuck the schedule.
That's good.
I mean,
So
yeah,
I'm
like,
not. That was an okay
Yeah.
ending. So
I'm like crying right
Even
now.
then, it gives us time to plan stuff for our other stuff that we can give them more time to do all that. Like,
But they're
I'm
gonna make us wait an
actually
extra
am curious though how
week.
Matthew, what thread Matthew's gonna give us to get out of this.
If we get out of this.
I don't think there is getting out of
I know
this.
Matthew. He's gonna leave us. He's gonna give us an option to get it to not die. He's not
But
just
there's a
gonna make us.
possibility that somebody's not gonna make it.
Probably
Pop,
it would be
kill.
Gil.
Is it Pop Gil who keeps bad mocking the enemy?
sassing.
I know you, Matthew. I know you are not
Oh,
the kind of
yeah,
DM who would give us a hopeless situation.
Oh, yeah.
So are we going are we not having a game next week
Oh,
or
no.
we still haven't finished the arc,
Yeah, I was gonna see how long this went on for, but yeah, so pretty much all for certain. Because even if you guys escape, you're probably not going to stay in the city. So those of you watching and those of you playing, tune in next week, same time as usual, for the final episode of the Summer Ball arc.
that means next episode we're gonna have to keep going until the arc ends.
Yeah.
That's fine with me. I just didn't. We already went a lot later than we normally do, so I didn't want to push you guys
Matthew,
too
like,
hard.
Just quit the whole idea that we have an end time.
Like, a lot of us,
We
a lot of you guys have
realistically
Yeah,
jobs.
some of us have stuff to do the next morning.
It is basically just until Matthew finds a good stopping point.
Well,
or
he
So-
tries,
No,
he
I
tries to
always
end it
stop, I
around
always stop
12.
at a good point after 12.
Yeah,
Like
usually-
any good ending point that comes after 12. But yeah,
Even
so
then, we could call it early if someone's like, "Oh, I can't make it."
yeah, we called it early for sips whenever they were tired. But yeah, so I hope everyone had fun. Thanks you guys so much for playing. Thanks everyone at home so much for watching, and we'll see you all next week.